decisions on Washington, D.C. and what he's going to do. And watching the left flip-flop over this issue is absolutely something we're going to be focusing on the show here today, because I don't know. Do you stand for law and order, or do you not stand for law and order? That's really the question you have to ask yourself. I don't know what they're thinking about, but now they seem to think that it's overreach of some sort for anybody who might think that this is a bad idea to have less crime. I mean, that's the amazing thing about it. As I listened to this debate yesterday, so we'll talk more about that through the course of the morning. There's a lot of focus on statistics. Mm-hmm. Is Washington, D.C. really that violent? Look, folks, here's the bottom line for you. I'll just put it right out there at the top of the show. Washington, D.C. is controlled by Congress. Period. End of discussion. It's the only city in America that is funded by and controlled by Congress. Now, they have an elected city council that can make recommendations, and they have a mayor, and they have a prosecutor, but they're wildly out of control like most of these big progressive cities. And it's the easiest target in America for the president to step in and actually have some level of power to impact what's going on there in terms of crime. And yeah, what triggered this? Was it possibly the fact that one of Donald Trump's staffers, one of the Doge kids, got the crap beat out of him by 10 people the other day in D.C.? Maybe. Does it really matter? I mean, we've long had a debate in St. Louis about whether the crime statistics are legit. Mm-hmm. And that's what the media is calling into question. Well, they're down 30% from a couple years ago. Okay, so you had 160 murders a couple years ago. Now you got 140. We're supposed to be happy about that?
Right.
No, we're not.
There was something posted, and I guess this was a quote Donald Trump had said, and I really, really like it. It's a great analogy. It says, "My father used to always tell me, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen is dirty also. If our capital is dirty, our whole country is dirty." And that is the first place that these, leaders from around the world are coming into the United States to meet with President Trump, to meet with other leaders here in our country. Yeah. And that's what they're seeing. And I haven't been to D.C., since I was a kid, as we were talking about yesterday. So I really can't talk. I don't know what it looks like, the homeless or the crime. I hear stories about the carjacking and the whatever else that we talk about here on the show. But, I mean, I can understand what he's talking about. We need to make sure it's a nice-looking area.
And I rolled back in here after my last trip there, and I'd taken a picture that I put up on the Facebook page of a homeless encampment with the Watergate building in the background, like one of the most famous apartment business complexes in Washington, D.C., Watergate, where the break-in happened during the Nixon administration. But it's also a destination place for the rich and powerful in D.C. Everybody would like to have an apartment in Watergate. And right outside of it, there's a homeless encampment. You can't get away from it in D.C., so I see what the president's talking about. Anyway, we'll talk more about all of this for you throughout the course of the morning. I'm thrilled that he did it. And my guess is if he thought he could get away with it, he'd try to do the same thing in maybe Memphis and maybe St. Louis, because if you look at the top 10 most dangerous cities by population, as a percentage of population, so crimes committed against people as a percentage of population, St. Louis comes in number 3. We're no longer number 1. Memphis is overtaking us. Yay. We're now number 3. Think of the impact he could have in a town like this, and think of the caterwauling that would go on down here at City Hall if he tried to do something like that. They don't want his help because he's Donald Trump. They ought to want his help because they want to protect their citizens.
Right. Well, and that's what, some of these residents are angry about. They're already out there protesting, which is no one's surprised that they're mad about this.
Yeah. No one is surprised at all. Hey, I had a great night last night. I got to go down to Helen Fitzgerald's have a cold beer and hang out with folks who were supporting Dennis Hancock for county executive in St. Louis County. Kicked off his campaign last night, had a full house. It was great to see a lot of familiar faces down there. And Dennis is going to be a great candidate for county executive. And, they made a point last night. He's like, listen, he acknowledged the challenge that he faces here, right? The same challenge that's been faced by everybody with an R after their name who's run since Gene McNary. We're outnumbered in St. Louis County. There are more people who identify as Democrats than there are who identify as Republicans. So in order to win that race, it has to be a combination of things. Either lower voter turnout on the other side, or a candidate who can reach consensus on some of these important issues and make people understand it's not just all about R's and D's, it's about common sense. And you've seen what the last two Democrat county executives have done. They both ended up in a criminal courtroom. And he says, listen, I'm gonna meet with everyone. I want them to understand this is not about making department heads unavailable to county council and spending money you're not legally allowed to spend on campaigns because you want to campaign against something you don't like that council put on the agenda. He said, enough of that. That's not what the county executive's role is in this county, and I'm going to go out and talk to people about that. So I hope Dennis, I hope people support him. It's going to be a nasty campaign, and at the end of the day, Sam Page may not be the Democratic candidate. He's already got a couple of people challenging him, including a state senator who's announced he's running on the Democrat side. So it might be Dennis Hancock versus some other name. But people need to realize that you have a choice, and he's got a wealth of experience as a county councilman and a mayor for 12 years down in Fenton. So he's got the executive experience that he would need to do that race. So I hope people are paying attention. I know it's early in the race, and he just announced, and we haven't even had a primary yet. We're what, 8-9 months away from that, and now the race begins, and I'll be supporting Dennis Hancock in any way that I can during that race. All right, coming up for you this morning, we are going to give away some Styx tickets. If you're listening early today, you could be a winner. So count yourselves lucky. I'm not doing it right now, but write this number down, 314-241-9797, and be prepared to dial here this hour. How about that? Next hour, we're going to talk to Ryan Schmelz, because he covered that news conference yesterday on crime in D.C., and I'll play it for you here in a minute, but there were even some jokes about some reporter wanted him to increase the size of the White House briefing room, and Trump had just a classic comeback on that one. We'll get to John Lamping on redistricting and what that looks like in the state of Missouri. We're going to talk to the St. Charles County Police Chief, Kurt Frisz, at about 7:20. He and other members of a law enforcement organization he's a member of are calling for a crackdown on juvenile crime and a change. They're calling on the legislature to change the way juveniles are dealt with in the state of Missouri when it comes to, a kid being arrested one night, being slapped on the wrist, turned loose, and being arrested again a few hours later. That's what's happening. So we'll talk to Chief Frisz about that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour this morning. Right now, let's get to our top stories. Drew, please.
The Marc Cox Short List.
Well, to be clear, listen, all those big blue states, they've already gerrymandered. Look at the map of Illinois. Look at the map of California, New York, and Massachusetts, and so many other blue states. They gerrymandered a long time ago.
You go, Governor Abbott. He's absolutely right. He's like, they can't gerrymander anymore. He said, we, on the other hand, could. So if they want to play ball, let's play.
Every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it.
Thank you, President Trump, for pointing that out. It's true. I remember us debating that on this show when they were talking about it. It's insane. The left is more worried about protecting criminals than they are protecting innocent citizens.
Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room, updated technology?
I don't want you to be comfortable.
No, I'm going to build a new ballroom for the White House to match the West Wing, or the East room over there. I've been in that one before, but I'm not building you a new briefing room because you need to be uncomfortable if you're in the media.
I believed then and I believe now that Los Angeles was a test case, and I think D.C. is a test case as well. For the president to say, well, we can take over your city whenever we want, and I'm the commander-in-chief, and I can use the troops whenever we want, I think that is an abuse of our troops.
Karen Largemouth Bass, mayor of L.A., I honestly believe you should have to take an IQ test to be elected to a mayoral position. It would eliminate a lot of the problems we have in these big blue progressive cities. Karen Bass, is she really not smart enough to understand that Donald Trump has every right in the world, as they've done since the country began, to call up the National Guard troops to protect federal properties? That's all they did in L.A. Never arrested a single person. They were there to protect ICE employees going in and out of ICE buildings. They didn't interact with the public. They didn't do anything other than stand there. But I'll guarantee you, them standing there prevented a lot of problems that we saw in Spokane and these other towns that were taken over by radical leftists just a few summers ago. And if she doesn't understand the difference between what he did in L.A. and what he's allowed to do in D.C. since the federal government controls it, she might be too dumb to serve as a mayor of a major metropolitan city. I'm just saying. I think that may be controversial, but I would support an IQ test in some of these races 100%. All right, we're going to get to a quick break here. Drew, who do we have for this morning's national anthem?
The Oak Ridge Boys.
Hit it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We are in good shape on the roads at this hour. Crews have just cleared an accident that was eastbound 70 at Adelaide, so now moving well through there. No delays on the Illinois side, nice and quiet there as well. So we are off to a good start. I will keep you posted, of course. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
All right, I get a lot of text messages and videos from my friend Matt Hayes, and I love that because he's out every day working on foundations and then showing me examples of what he's done, and it's great. And maybe it's a cracked foundation floor in a basement that's allowing water to seep up. There's you may not realize this, but around the base of your home, the foundation of it, the basement, there's hydrostatic pressure because the soil fills with water. That water wants to go somewhere, and it naturally tries to fill that empty void that is your basement. So if you have a crack in your floor, if you have a crack in your wall, the water will find a way through there. Here's what Matt can do. He can come in with Home Shield Foundation repairs. He can seal it up and then give you a lifetime warranty. If it's pressure underneath the floor and you just need to relieve it, they can install a sump pump, or they can replace the one you have, because chances are it is subpar. According to Matt Hayes, he's got some very strong opinions on which sump pumps you ought to be using. So call him today. If you've got any of these problems, he is a foundation specialist. He owns the company. He's the guy you'll be dealing with. 314-227-9636 or HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Cutting through the spin. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
Very nice music selection. A little tribute to Ozzy continues here now that he has departed this world. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate that. That's good. You know what? I mentioned I haven't mentioned this in a while, but I've got tickets later this month to see David Lee Roth, the former Van Halen frontman, and I keep seeing all of these critical reviews of his shows across the country before it comes here, and it doesn't have me pumped up for that concert. I love the backing band is great. They'll be playing lots of Van Halen, which I love, so I'll be thrilled with that. But I keep reading all these reviews that David is not holding up his end of the deal.
How old is he? Is it like an age thing? He's just
I don't know. I mean,
keep up?
You can look at all of these Kevin Cronin, all these great singers who are in their 70s who are still doing a fine job.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Hagar still does a fine job. He's 75 years old. David Lee Roth's got to be roughly the same age, in his early 70s, I would think. Maybe 71, 72. But somewhere along the way, I don't know if he smoked too much stuff, what he did, but his voice is not able to hit some of those high notes that he could hit when he was in his 20s, and that's not a huge surprise, but some of them can still do it.
Well, how many artists though are lip syncing at concerts?
Oh, no.
You think that's pretty common?
I don't. But here's what they do. They bring in young backup singers who you either see or don't see, who are either on the stage or behind the stage, to help fill in those high notes, because many of them just can't hit it anymore, and it's just age, right?
I thought
they
maybe
can't do it forever.
They had played the track or something underneath, so if something were to happen, you would still hear their audio.
I don't believe I've heard of that happening. I think that would be extraordinarily damaging if you were doing that and your fans found out about it, and they could easily find out about it if there's a technical glitch of some sort. Why would you risk that?
Yeah, that's true.
Grace Slick was the singer for Jefferson Airplane and Jefferson Starship, and I interviewed her a number of years ago when she was in town because she quit singing after they had that song, "We Built This City." Remember that song? she quit. And she quit in her late 50s, I think. She was in her 50s when that song was released, I think. And she became an artist. She's a far-left hippie activist Democrat. And she became an artist, and she had an art show here in St. Louis. And she brought her art display here to some gallery, and they made her available for interviews on it because they knew people would want to interview her because she's great slick. So we had her in there on our show, recording with her for our weekend show. I think it was, pretty sure it was. And she's in the studio with me. We're doing the interview. We're in a commercial break, and somebody walks down the hallway and says, "Hey, Grace, the mayor of St. Louis is in the building and would love to meet you, Mayor Slay. Would you be willing to do that?" And her comment was, "Well, I'm only meeting with him if he's a Democrat. I'm not meeting with any blah, 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 blah Republicans." And I'm smiling inwardly.
If you only knew.
If you only knew my point of view on things, that's pretty funny. But what she told me was, I don't know what's wrong with these guys. They need to quit. They need to. I quit while I could still sing. And I saw the day coming when I wouldn't be able to do some of that, and I didn't want to tarnish my reputation. So she just called it quits at an earlier age. Her choice, right? Maybe her hard partying when she was younger caught up with her. I don't know. It's altogether possible. She did admit to some of that. I asked her a few questions about the rumors of her early partying and with Janis Joplin and all of those people, and she said, "You know what? I can't tell you whether it's true or not because, quite frankly, I was so stoned, I don't remember."
I figured that was
There were
answer.
so many drugs, I just don't remember. All right, Drew, let's hit it. Don't you have some Styx music queued up for me? Didn't we talk? Sticks. That's how you spell that, my friend. I don't know.
You already got made fun of for that this morning on someone commented on Facebook.
I'm trying to give away some Styx tickets here, and I need a little bit of music. There we go. How about that? They're coming August 22nd to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Kevin Cronin's still got it, so he'll be out there singing with them. And we're going to give away a pair of tickets every day this week. How about caller number 9? 314-241-9797. Caller number 9 gets a pair of tickets. 314-241-9797. Good luck to you. We'll be back with Kim on a Whim coming up.
Free to face a life that's ahead of me.
God, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Tune in to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? I'm Dr. Nick Barnes of Health from Within Family Chiropractic. Our simple 5-step approach aligns your health naturally. We correct spinal abnormalities to maximize nerve supply, focus on pure and simple nutrition, exercise and oxygen, mindset, and minimizing toxins in your body. Transform your health today with Health from Within, conveniently located on Manchester in Rock Hill or online at healthfromwithinstl.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The Consumer Price Index released today is expected to reveal a slight inflation increase in July, though after the weak job creation reported for July, Kenny Polcari of Slate Stone Wealth says investors are now expecting interest rates to go down.
I think the market is pricing in 3 rate cuts, or at least 75 basis points. How we get there, is it going to be 1, is it going to be 2, is it going to be 3? But I do agree that the market now is at the point where it's expecting 75, however we get there.
Fed Governor Michelle Bowman expects to support 3 rate cuts at the 3 remaining meetings this year. Cloud computing company CoreWeave reports earnings after the Wall Street close. Numbers are also coming out today from Cardinal Health, Kava Group, and others. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
You think your 401k is safe, growing, reliable. But here's the truth. The 401k was never designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift risk onto you, leaving your retirement exposed to Wall Street crashes, inflation, and chaos. Noble Gold helps Americans roll over part of their 401k into real physical gold. Tax advantage, penalty-free, and shock-proof. Get your free wealth protection kit now at noblegoldinvestments.com. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Nice and quiet on the roads at this hour if you are just headed out. We look good on both the Missouri and Illinois sides. No delays on northbound 55 despite multiple construction zones here on the Missouri side. Looking good through North County, so it's a so far so good situation. This report is brought to you by Infinite Vitality. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ready for real weight loss? Infinite Vitality helps you lose 8+ pounds a month with peptides like tirzepatide. Track fat loss with 3D imaging. 2 months for just $400. Mention Annie for a $50 credit. Infinite-vitality.com.
All right, Michael's Flooring Outlet has helped me out so many times over the years. It's hard to keep track, but love what they do. Mike Reynolds is a fantastic guy, North County guy, who's done well for himself. He's got 3 great flooring stores where he's trained up his employees the same way he wants his business run, and that is great customer service from start to finish. It's been my experience. I've explained to you before on a couple of occasions, and we bought from them 4 times now. We've walked in with one thing in mind and ended up with a different type of flooring, a different type of carpeting, a different type of hardwood, because they educated us on what we needed after asking us certain questions about our lifestyle. For example, we have a 60-pound dog that often doesn't have its nails trimmed as often as they should be. So when it came to hardwood, we went with an engineered hardwood. It is much more durable. It's less likely to be scratched by a dog like that. It's beautiful, and we're thrilled with it in our house. So if you want great education and great flooring and great prices and selection, you got to go to Michael's. If they have it in stock, you might get it installed the next day. Ask them about their great Mohawk products they've got up there. They're in Old Town St. Peters. They're in Darden Prairie, and they're in West St. Louis County off of Olive west of 270. Go to igotfloored.com.
You owe the IRS. You have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
The Cards, the Rockies.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball! Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX. From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a whim.
Pete Hegseth is taking some heat for something that he put on X. I'm still getting used to saying X, by the way. I will just forever want to call it Twitter. Can we just acknowledge that? Well, why did Elon Musk have to change it to X? This isn't what I want to talk about, but it needs to be mentioned.
He changed his son's name to X, and he wants everybody to say that. I don't know.
What would another child be named if
Y?
X, Y, Z, just keep going down the alphabet. So anyway, he had shared this video. It's a story that CNN did where they went out and they talked to this pastor who has opened up a church in Washington, D.C., and I guess Pete Hegseth is among the parishioners there, and some other higher profile people. And, CNN, of course, is calling this pastor in the story a Christian nationalist. They love that phrase because it just has a negative connotation to it.
Sure.
It does not paint this pastor in a very good light. But there's the reason why Hegseth is taking a lot of heat for sharing this particular CNN story featuring this pastor, and the caption he wrote was, "All of Christ for all of life." All right. And let me play a clip from this CNN story interviewing some of these pastors from this church.
Example. Wilson says in his vision of a Christian society, women as individuals shouldn't be able to vote. His fellow pastors Jared Longshore and Toby Sumter agree.
In my ideal society, we would vote as households. And I would ordinarily be the one that would cast the vote, but I would cast the vote having discussed it with my household.
But what if there's your wife doesn't want to vote for the same person as you?
Right. Well, then that's a great opportunity for a good discussion.
There are some who have gone so far as to say that they want the 19th Amendment repealed.
I would support that. And I'd support it on the basis that the atomization that comes with our current system is not good for humans.
Okay. You can understand why there's a lot of people who are upset about that.
Okay.
I don't agree with those pastors. I don't agree with the 19th Amendment being, repealed. I think that's silly. Now, they used to do it that way, where it truly was one vote for the household. Society has changed so much, and people, you hear, just, you guys know I've been very open about my faith, and and you have too, Mark, and I talk about the importance of the nuclear family, and a lot of liberals want to tear that apart, especially people like Zohran Mamdani, right? These socialists, these communists, whatever you want to call him, they're all about breaking apart the nuclear family. And that's kind of what he was talking about, the atomization, right? They just want to break everything apart. People aren't equally yoked, I feel like they used to be. It worked better back then because I think people were finding partners who shared more values, and it just doesn't seem like that's really a play as much like it was in the past. So I don't think this would work. I don't understand.
Are they suggesting here that Hegseth wants to go back to that?
That's exactly it. I think that's the criticism that Pete Hegseth is really getting right now, is they're saying, Pete Hegseth, you are advocating for what these pastors are advocating for, which is, as you just heard, repealing the 19th Amendment when women shouldn't be able to vote. I can understand why people don't love that he shared this, because it does insinuate that he is all about that.
So what I think first and foremost, you need to understand that there are people who want to undermine everything Pete Hegseth does
100%.
or says. Remember the Jerusalem cross tattoo controversy? When he was during his nomination hearing, they tried to suggest because he has a Jerusalem cross tattoo on his chest,
forgot about that.
he's a Christian nationalist, and this is something that apparently it's been around since the Crusades. It's a really old symbol. He pointed out when they asked him about it that he attended Jimmy Carter's memorial ceremony on the floor of the National Cathedral, and on the front page of the program is the same Jerusalem cross that he has tattooed on his chest. But if he has it tattooed on his chest, it must be a Christian nationalist sign.
But also,
of some sort.
Why is it such a bad thing to be a quote-unquote Christian nationalist? To me, a Christian nationalist is someone who is a Christian and is also very proud to be an American, loves their country. That describes me. So I guess I'm a Christian nationalist. The problem is the left likes to take these things and they like to twist them.
They redefine terms
Exactly.
and attach new meaning to them, and it's silly season.
Like all the pronouns and that's exactly what they've done in other areas.
Unless I hear Pete Hegseth come out, I'm not going to let somebody else assign thoughts to him. Unless I hear him come out in a news conference and say, I don't think women should be able to vote. I'm not going to believe that just because he attends a church like that he necessarily believes the same thing. Remember Barack Obama and the Reverend Wright up in Chicago. You may or may not remember that, but he's an American hater. He would GD America from the pulpit. And this is the church where Barack Obama attended, supposedly, when he was a young activist in Chicago, and again during the campaign, they had to try to distance Barack Obama from his pastor, Reverend Wright, because they said, well, if Reverend Wright believes this, you must believe this too. And Obama claimed that he didn't. I don't know if he didn't or not, but he claimed that he didn't. But until I heard him come out and say it, you couldn't really assign those same values to Obama. You could suggest it, and that's what they're doing here with Hegseth.
Right. The other
It's
part
exactly
of
what they're
the other
trying
part of the CNN story, which by the way, you can tell this reporter for CNN is clearly not Christian. She had this look of disgust. Just her tone, the way she was asking some of these questions throughout the story, which by the way was kind of a longer story, a longer form one. You could just tell that she was completely appalled by everything that they were saying, and they were talking about women in leadership positions. And of course that went down to women in the military. And I would be the first to advocate that it doesn't mean that women can't be in the military. It just means, do I think women should be on the front lines? No. Imagine having to, in fact, my husband and I were just talking about this the other day. Imagine, I'm on the front lines and you're injured and I have to get you out of harm's way, okay? How am I, as a 5'4" woman, able to grab you and get you, wherever you need to go safely? I can't do that. You need strong men you're just built differently than I am as a woman who can do that type of stuff. It's not the place for women to be. And I know so many women get upset about that, and they feel like it's this whole thing of, well, you're telling me that I can't do what a man can't. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. We're just built differently. We bring other things to the table that men can't. Why does it have to be some
I've been
constant
preaching that
competition?
For years. Are there some women out there that I wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley? Absolutely. There are probably a few that can meet it, but only if you can meet this exact same standard the dudes have to meet. And then maybe we're okay with that.
That's
but
exactly it.
If you have to lessen the standards, the PT standards, any of it, the answer should be no.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Hegseth probably shares that point of view. On a lot of these things. I think he's expressed that.
Right.
The reason I was laughing a minute ago when you were talking about that is the comment by Will on Facebook there. He said, if you watch The View often enough, you might understand why people want to repeal the 19th Amendment.
Okay, that is fair, Will. By the way, are they canceled or not?
No, I don't think so.
They're taking some hiatus, but do we know why they're taking a hiatus? Is this an annual hiatus?
I think they take an annual hiatus. They crawl back in the cave or wherever they come from and refresh once a year. I think that's pretty normal for them. I don't think they're being run off the air yet. Their ratings have to suck, but I don't know.
I mean, we play their audio because it's so ridiculous. So that's part of it. You only talk to the liberals, but the conservatives play your audio and you get hits because what you say is so stupid. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, it might. I hate to hear that they're, again, they don't like Pete Hegseth.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man's man leading the military, and he doesn't put up with. He does PT with the troops. He's everything they hate about a macho man. They don't like that at all.
By the way, did you hear he was doing an interview with, I want to say it was Fox, and he made some comment about the Defense Department being renamed potentially to the War Department.
That's what it used to be called.
It used to be called that. Was it during World War II? Was that right? Okay, so he made some comment like, oh, yeah, and soon to be War Department. And she's like, whoa. I'm sorry, what did you just say? Are we renaming this? He said, well, that'd be up to Mr. President, but I would support it. I like that name.
The War Department.
The War
I like
Department.
It. Absolutely.
So
they're here to protect, to provide for the common defense. That's what the military's for, is to go out and kill our enemies. That's what they're here for, and to protect our shores.
Mm-hmm.
I would have no problem with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, to your point, anything, I always joke, I'm like, if Hegseth or one of these, if Trump, one of these other conservatives were to go rescue a cat from a tree, they would still say that, well, you clearly hurt the cat when you took it down from the tree. The cat would have been better stuck in the tree. No matter what they do, they help an old lady cross the street with her groceries. Oh, you squeezed her hand too hard. I mean, it's like they find one little stupid thing to criticize them about because they just can't possibly say anything nice about them. They hate everything they do. They hate everything they stand for.
That's pretty much what it is.
It's not really just Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, that is very contagious. It's been going around a lot, and there's no vaccine for it. But it's really conservative derangement syndrome. It's anything that relates to conservative values.
And
People are disgusted by it.
anything he's done so far the last month, trade, ending wars, whatever he's done, he's only done it to distract from the Epstein thing. That's their excuse now.
Mhm.
Their excuse for his winning on other issues. Oh, well, he only did that. He only got solved the war in Sudan or wherever it is. He only did that because he's trying to distract from the Epstein situation. Really?
Right. I know.
Really? Like that's why he did it? These are the people that supported Bill Clinton, the dog, the tail wagging the dog, when he bombed an aspirin plant somewhere in the Middle East to distract from all of his political problems back here at home. That's the kind of stuff we were used to.
Well, it's like the Iran nuclear bombing that, the first thing they said, well, it really wasn't that great. It wasn't that effective. It's like, why don't we celebrate that there was a win? Now, I understand asking questions and looking into it more, as time goes on. But for that to be like one of the first things that they said, just for them to criticize it, celebrate the fact that we were able to do this successfully.
It's what they do. It's what they do best, no doubt about it. Still, my favorite meme from yesterday was Muriel Bowser looking into the camera, and the Babylon Bee said, D.C. Mayor warns Trump's crime-fighting measures will unfairly impact criminals.
Love that.
That's what they're focused on.
They're the
it
victims.
Sure seems like, doesn't it? Oh, no kidding. It absolutely does. Hey, by the way, if you missed this news yesterday, John Solomon broke this story about the FBI whistleblower and Shifty Schiff. Adam Shifty Schiff, pencil neck Schiff, I think is what President Trump has referred to him as, that he authorized the leaking of classified documents, and the previous DOJ declined to investigate it. The claim. Just flat declined. My guess is Pam Bondi might not. So that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that for you coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look great on the roads this morning. We've got really light traffic out there. A construction note for you for tonight, though, on 64 in St. Charles County. 8 p.m. until 7 a.m., crews will have one westbound lane closed from Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 364. And then 8 p.m. till 6 a.m., one westbound lane closed right there under Route W. So just the ongoing road work, which they're kind enough to do overnight. Probably a little cooler for them as well. But things are in great shape this morning. Now, we do have a chance for rain, but so far it's dry, at least in the metro area. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
If you remember Cash for Clunkers, remember that deal? I think, my goodness, might have been under the Obama administration when they were trying to get old gas-burning clunkers off the road, so they offered you some sort of, a cash amount from the government. This is not a government program. Overhead Door Company is offering you cash for your clunker of a garage door. They'll give you $200 for the first door and $100 for every door after that, and you can apply that toward the installation of a brand new insulated garage door. It keeps the heat out to a greater extent in the summer. It keeps the cold out to a greater extent in the winter, and you've got a more secure house, and it's beautiful. They have some gorgeous garage doors to select from over there at the Overhead Door Company. I would call them today if I were you. Let them come out there. They're going to give you a free estimate, of course, every time they come out. 314-781-5200. Sorry about that. 314-781-5200. Now, that number is important because not only will they come out and give you a free estimate on a garage door, but if you need service, they do emergency service, same-day service, so they don't leave you stuck if your garage door has broken for some reason. They've been at this for 99 years. They know how to do it right. Check them out online. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It's overheaddoorslouis.com.
Do you know someone that deserves a new heating or cooling system at no cost? Lennox invites you to nominate a local hero in your community for Feel the Love. and recognize someone who always gives back to others and just needs a little help to get their home comfort where it needs to be. To nominate a member of your community who serves others and deserves the recognition, visit www.feelthelove.com. Nominations will be accepted through August 31st. That's www.feelthelove.com. Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
No fluff, no filters, just facts. Marc Cox, Kim St. Ange, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
He's out of control, and it's shocking that Fox News allows him to continue this way over a sitting member of Congress.
How about that? MTG is in a full-blown war right now with Mark Levin. And, you know, I got to be real honest with you here. I am on Levin's side on 95% of this. I really am. He is – Marjorie Taylor Greene and these folks who have decided that no military action is ever in the best interest of the United States have taken the thought of no foreign wars too far. Donald Trump campaigned on that he didn't want us to continue to be involved in foreign wars. And I'm, in general, I agree with that. We shouldn't be nation building. We shouldn't, have been in Afghanistan for as long as we were or Iraq for as long as we were. I'm 100% on board with most of that. But there are exceptions to that. You can't be a fan of Ronald Reagan and not realize that peace through strength matters. When you're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, you have to exercise that power effectively to maintain your status as the world's superpower. And when you see evil, we are good. There is evil. When you see evil happening, it's okay for us to step in and participate in that, like the bombing of those nuclear facilities in Iran. I have no problem with that. MTG lost her ever-loving mind over that and has become so anti-Israel that I don't recognize her in some ways anymore. I don't get that. I'm sorry. I am not on board with her approach to this. Mark Levin and her have had a war of words because he's called her insane. She's now calling him insane. She's mad that Fox keeps him on the air over there. I mean, Levin is Jewish, number one. He supports Israel. Number two, I support Israel. I'm not Jewish. I think Israel's well within their rights to do what they're doing, and they need to go in and finish cleaning out this beehive of Hamas in Gaza and get rid of it once and for all. Just be done with it. Eliminate Hamas and let those people, the ones that choose to live peacefully, rebuild over there. But they can't do it as long as they've got these snakes living among them. They have to cut off the head of the snake. Do I want U.S. troops involved in that? No. But I do support Israel's right to do it. I do, and I support continued support for Israel. See, she conflates things here, in my opinion. She's like, we're sick of our taxpayer dollars going overseas. Hey, Marjorie, so am I. For things like, sending condoms to prevent AIDS in Africa. I don't care about that, and I sure don't want millions of taxpayer dollars sent over to Africa to stop AIDS. That's none of our business, in my opinion. That's where I want the waste of foreign tax dollars, of our tax dollars, to stop in foreign countries. Let me restate that. But there are places where we do need to have influence, and Israel is one of them. So I'm not on the same page as MTG on this.
She's been a little bit off her rocker. I don't know what's going on, but she's come out against Trump specifically on a number of different things.
Well, particularly on that Iran bombing.
Right.
She was not happy about that. So I mentioned this John Solomon story earlier. I thought this was interesting. He has, of course, just started the website Just the News. He said that there's a guy on a whistleblower who came forward. They've got the documents now, who pointed out that Adam Schiff was the source of a number of leaks regarding classified information that the DOJ at the time chose to absolutely ignore. Listen to this.
So this whistleblower literally sat in a meeting, he tells the FBI, where Adam Schiff authorized the leaking of classified secrets to dirty up Donald Trump and to try to build towards either a select committee in Congress or a special prosecutor. This whistleblower was a career intelligence officer. He had worked for the House Intelligence Committee, Democrat staff, for a dozen years when he came forward to the FBI. He gave 4 interviews. He gave very specific information to the FBI, and nothing happened. Why? Because the Justice Department simply decided to take a pass. How many times have we sat around in the last decade and heard, we're going to get to the bottom of that classified leak, and then a few months later, we couldn't get to the bottom of that classified leak. In the case of Adam Schiff, they got to the bottom of some classified leaks, but the Justice Department chose not to act.
Yep. The Justice Department, Merrick Garland, chose not to act. Rod Rosenstein chose not to act. My guess is Pam Bondi will not take the same approach. At least I hope she won't. All right, next hour, we will get to our friend Ryan Schmelz on the big D.C. crackdown.
At Ruler Foods, savings are as easy as 1, 2, 3, and we mean it. Step 1, $1 each. Grab Kroger Snack Medleys, Chef Boyardee, canned pasta, Banquet pot pies, Big K 2 liters, or Kroger cut and peeled baby carrots, just $1. $2, stock up on Kroger graham crackers, toaster treats, Pringles, or Kroger deli salads. Tasty deals for just $2. And for $3, fill your cart with Kroger corn dogs, lunch meat tubs, or giant size cereal, all for $3. That's right, savings made simple from $1, $2, and $3 only at Ruler Foods, rulerfoods.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, time for me to talk about retirement. It's so important, so overlooked, unfortunately, by so many people who wait till it's too late to seriously protect, defend their retirement savings. And don't be that person, right? Just don't. Just go to my friends at the Retirement Advisory Group, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw. This is a family-run business. They've been around for coming up on 40 years before long, helping people protect that nest egg by not putting it at the risk of the ups and downs of the market, but allowing people to take advantage when the market is up. And I think that's great. If you don't understand how they do it, they'll be happy to explain it to you right in their beautiful office. This is a family-run operation. Call them at 314-993-9494. They'll sit down with you for free and tell you what they do. 314-993-9494. Or you could just go online and set an appointment today on retirementkey.com.
I don't want to wait.
You never want to wait.
Not when I'm sticking to the couch.
Well, those guys can install a new AC for days. Evidently, no one can.
Jerry Kelly can install a new AC tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, even if we call it 8 tonight.
Wow, that's fast.
They're fast and they're good.
Mathematically, that actually equals got it going on.
Tomorrow, I love ya.
JerryKelly.com. It's motorcycle season in St. Louis. Time to ride. When the road gets rough and you're injured in an accident, you need someone who's got your back. You need Kaufman Townsley. We're local, we know St. Louis, and we don't settle unless it's what's best for you. When it's not, we go to trial, and we bring decades of experience with us. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Pushing back against the president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That Trump must go now chant at a protest in Washington against the president's crime crackdown taking over D.C. police, bringing in the National Guard and federal agents. Mayor Muriel Bowser calls it unsettling and unprecedented. And Fox's Mark Meredith has the D.C. City Council reaction.
Violent crime in the district is at the lowest rates we have seen in 30 years. The statement goes on to say federalizing the police department is unwarranted because there is no federal emergency. But crime is still happening, including the fatal shooting roughly 1 mile from the White House. Now we're hearing from D.C.'s U.S. attorney, who is urging local leaders to stiffen the punishments criminals may face for crimes both big and small.
We've got to repeal these laws of the left-leaning D.C. Council, one member of whom I just indicted recently, and we've got to make this place safe for the people in the district.
That was Janine Pirro on Fox's Hannity. 3 people are dead in Austin, Texas, including a child, after a shooting in a Target parking lot. The gunman fled and stole 2 cars until he was stopped and arrested.
We have a male white suspect who appears to be 32 years of age. Does have a mental health history.
Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis. A U.S. steel plant badly damaged near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the morning after an explosion rocked the facility, killing 2 people, injuring at least 10 others.
We aim to get to the bottom of the origin of what caused this explosion and prevent it from ever happening again.
Allegheny County Executive Sarah Innamorato. President Trump's given China an extra 3 months to work out a trade deal, keeping Chinese import tariffs at 30%. They were set to spike back up this morning. Tropical storm Arian off the coast of Africa, forecast to grow into the first Atlantic hurricane this season later this week.
By Sunday, you're talking 115 miles an hour. That is getting up to Category 3 status. But at that point, you're just north of Puerto Rico. So we're still days and days and days away from this.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz says it's unclear what Aaron's track is after that. America's listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. 79 degrees now, 6:03. A new partnership between St. Charles County schools and dispatchers aims to improve 911 response time in emergencies. Last night, the St. Charles County Council voted to pass an ordinance that will give districts the option to share maps of their schools with first responders. That information, by the way, will not be available to the public. Well, we're now in week 2 of the Boeing strike with no end in sight. This comes after the union, made up of about 3,200 machinists, rejected the company's latest offer of a 20% raise over 4 years. A Boeing spokesperson says no future negotiations are scheduled. A new pet emporium and sports bar set to open in Bar K's Place after the St. Louis business, as you might remember, abruptly closed last month and then filed for bankruptcy. So this new space, it will include a canine carnival with trainers as well as grooming and boarding services. It's not exactly clear at this point when that new bar will open. In sports, hey, the Cardinals beat the Rockies yesterday. Final score 3-2. Game 2 coming up tonight at Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. 6:04 is our time, 79 degrees. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There is an accident on northbound 270 just south of 6440. Boy, we've really had some accidents there in the last couple of days. But they've got the 2 left lanes blocked, and traffic is stacking up pretty quickly behind this. So if you are a northbound 270 driver, that's what's happening. I will post this on X here in just a few minutes so you can see it. Now, that is pretty much the only action at this hour. Other than that, we look good, and that's on both the Missouri and Illinois sides. This report brought to you by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Kind of typical run-of-the-mill August weather over the next couple of days, but just heads up, upper 90s are back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On this Tuesday, partly sunny, kind of hot and humid, but again, nothing out of the ordinary. We'll keep an eye out for a couple of scattered thunderstorms, 92. 73 tonight, 90 on Wednesday, 92 on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're coming up on 6:06 here, 79 degrees in downtown St. Louis. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, good morning to you. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. That would be me. I got Kim St. Ange in here. Drew is in for Ethan this morning, who I have been told returns from his vacation tomorrow. Well rested, I'm sure, and hopefully had some of the same great weather we're talking about. You know, I was looking at the radar this morning, Kim. Dave Murray put out his forecast. There's a hurricane named Aaron that is headed towards South Florida right now. And I'm thinking, man, when I booked that cruise with my mom for last week, my biggest concern was, and I bought the insurance because my biggest concern was you're right at the beginning of hurricane season.
Yep.
What if?
I know.
So it looks like we dodged that what if by about a week.
Well, I just think about what happened with us when my husband and I went on that.
That's
oh,
right.
my gosh. Easton was like
To the
6
Carolinas,
months old.
right?
And, yeah, we were there for maybe 24 hours and turned right back. And by the way, they wouldn't give us a refund on the hotel because they said that it wasn't a mandatory evacuation.
Oh, nice.
Like, oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. There was a hurricane coming in.
You know, just a
little
just a tiny
nervous.
little thing like a hurricane. Yeah, this thing looks like if it keeps on the current path, it's going to hit the Bahamas by the weekend. So back that up by 2 weeks, and it would, about the time we would have flown in, somebody's got a cruise booked for this coming weekend, and they're about to get hosed. It looks like down in Florida, and we're not going to have any of those problems because we still got some decent St. Louis weather right now for sure. A little cooler than normal. Hey, coming up, you know what? There's a problem with crime. Donald Trump's been talking about it. We've got a problem in our area as well. And what is that problem? The problem is we're soft on it. We've been getting softer for a long time. And not just in the adult criminal courts, but in the juvenile system. And now some local police chiefs are kind of pointing this out. They want the world to know that there's some things we could be doing here in Missouri to make this better. We're going to talk to Chief Kurt Frisz from St. Charles County with their ideas for juvenile reform so that you don't have a situation where you arrest some little punk, he gets a slap on the wrist, and the next day they arrest him again for the same crime because the courts won't. Either they don't have the teeth in the law that they need, or the court system is ignoring the teeth that are there. There's no parental responsibility whatsoever. So we're going to talk to the chief on that coming up in the next hour. So stay tuned for that. We're going to get him on here about 7:20 this morning. The bottom of this hour, my friend John Lamping is going to join us, former Missouri State Senator. Lots of belly aching down in Texas over redistricting. Now, a couple years ago here in Missouri, we had an opportunity to do this. I listened to my friend Nick Schroer yesterday on Mark Reardon's show, and he was making this point as well. We tried to show them it just makes sense that Missouri should be a 7-1 state in our congressional districts. But again, the rhinos in Jeff City didn't have the intestinal fortitude to get that done. And now it looks like maybe there may be some movement toward that. I'm cautiously optimistic that we might be able to get that done because they're taking much bolder steps down in Texas. And we're going to talk to John about that possibility here at the bottom of the hour. So be sure and stay tuned for that. Right now, Drew, why don't we go ahead and get to our top stories, please?
The Marc Cox Shortlist.
Becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums, too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live.
That is what I voted for. Are you hearing that? That is what I voted for. I've been to D.C. enough time over the last 5 or 6 years to tell you it's become a slum in some areas because there are tent cities everywhere, and it's time to clean that mess up.
4 of the 5 seats we are adding are Hispanic majority seats that happen to vote Republican. Democrats are really upset about the fact is that their base voters, Hispanics and Democrats, are fleeing Democrats.
Yeah, the Governor Abbott, he's absolutely right. He's like, here's what are they mad about? These are predominantly Hispanic districts, and they're probably going to elect a Republican. That's what the Democrats are mad about.
We're making it possible to actually command decisively in the military, which is how you close with and destroy your enemy. We lost track of the basics, Laura, and we're restoring the basics at the Defense Department, maybe soon to be the War Department.
Ah, like it. Pete Hegseth there. They may rename that thing to the War Department as it always was until, I don't know what, 40, 50 years ago they changed it to the Department of Defense. Is that more palatable? I don't think so.
While this action today is unsettling and unprecedented, I can't say that given some of the rhetoric of the past that we're totally surprised.
Mayor Muriel Bowser does not like what's going on in Washington, D.C. She does not want the federal government to come in and clean up the mess that she was incapable or unwilling to clean up over the past couple years. And here's my point about this. And I think what's going on in D.C. is the exact same thing that's gone on in St. Louis. They are manipulating the crime numbers, in my opinion, to make them seem lower than they are. And the excuse has been, well, the way we count crime doesn't directly line up with the FBI uniform crime statistics approach, and therefore not everything gets reported to the FBI crime statistics report, and therefore we look better in the FBI uniform crime reporting statistics, right?
Yeah.
And I suspected that was the case. And then yesterday I heard a guy on, and let me find this bite here. I heard the guy on was it MSNBC? I don't know if I pulled the bite yet or not, but he pointed out the same thing. He said, I think Muriel Bowser hedged her comments yesterday because she knows the truth about those crime statistics. Remember, Tashara Jones wanted to argue that St. Louis crimes are down and there's no reason for a state takeover and blah, 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 blah. But in reality, those numbers were fudged a little bit. Mm-hmm. They are. And it's like the point that Janine Pirro made yesterday, and that was, well, you know, it's fine for you to say that the numbers are down, but they're still unacceptable, and we don't have to live like this. And I think she's absolutely right. There's no reason for a big city like D.C. to live like that. There was a television news anchor on ABC, Kara Phillips, yesterday, who was basically making the same point. She's like, listen, I've lived in D.C. for years. She said yesterday, I was robbed just down the street from the Bureau 2 years ago, and we had somebody's car stolen this morning. She admitted this on ABC News yesterday. I don't know Kara Phillips. I don't know anything about her. For ABC News to have one of their anchors agree with Donald Trump was a pretty stunning development. She's like, you can argue the crime numbers are down. Here's the truth.
We've been talking so much about the numbers, and yeah, usually that's how you play devil's advocate, is you talk about, oh, well, stats say crime is down. However, I can tell you firsthand here in downtown D.C. where we work, right here around our bureau, just in the past 6 months, you know, there were 2 people shot. One person died, literally 2 blocks down here from the bureau. It was within the last 2 years that I actually was jumped walking just 2 blocks down from here. And then just this morning, one of my coworkers said her car was stolen a block away from the Bureau. So we can talk about the numbers going down, but crime is happening every single day because we're all experiencing it firsthand while working and living down here.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of reaction she received from her bosses or her coworkers.
I'm sure they don't want her to be honest about it.
Right.
But when I visited D.C. the last time, and I told Annie this when she went there, when she got to go up and be in the press briefing room a month or two ago, I'm like, listen, I'll just tell you what they told me when I went there. Griff Jenkins told me this, a couple of other people. Yes, there are some nice restaurants that aren't that far from your hotel. If I were you, if it's daylight, it's probably safe to walk to them. Take an Uber on your way back. Do not walk back 5 city blocks from that restaurant to this hotel in the dark.
Wouldn't you say the same thing, though, about most of downtown St. Louis?
Parts of St. Louis.
Daylight, I'd probably be comfortable walking by myself. At night, there's no way. If I'm by myself, even maybe if I'm with somebody else, depending on who it is, am I walking even 5 blocks? Maybe I'm a baby about that, but I've seen too many things happening right here.
I think a lot of people feel that way, and there's no excuse for it. There really isn't, and I'm glad what the president's doing in D.C. Everybody who's claiming it's an overreach doesn't understand that D.C. is operated by Congress for the most part. They're funded by them, and they have a huge influence in the administration, a huge influence over what goes on there. So you just need to grow up and get over that one. Coming up, we're going to check in, speaking of that, with Ryan Schmelz, who's covering that story and the fallout from it in the nation's capital. He lives and works there. We'll get Ryan's take on it in just a few minutes. Bottom of the hour, John Lamping on the idea of switching Missouri to a 7-1 congressional map. Will it happen? We'll talk to John about it about 6:35.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident on northbound 270 as you approach 6440. And we've got the left lanes blocked. Now, at some point, they were talking about it, heard it on the scanners, and there are multiple vehicles involved in this thing. So it may be a while. We've got a lot of tow trucks to get out there. But we've already got a jam building behind it. And if you are on northbound 270, that jam is already back to Manchester. So that's the big issue at this hour. Other than that, we've looked pretty good. Let's see. Out west, we've got westbound 70, just a little slow, headed for Z. And that's it. Other than that, we're good. And things are quiet on the Illinois side in general and on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do windows, siding, kitchens, baths, outdoor spaces. They deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoe horn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
This summer, try the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage at Starbucks. It's the classic blended iced coffee you know and love, now topped with a creamy layer of handcrafted brown sugar cold foam. Available for a limited time. Your Strato Frappuccino is ready at Starbucks.
Having a tough time paying your bills? Learn how to reduce your credit card debt to a fraction of what you owe. Call the Debt Helpline now for free advice. 800-329-9912. 800-329-9912.
Well, do you have credit card debt? It's okay. You don't have to admit it out loud, but you know if you're suffering from $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 spread out among several credit cards, what's your interest rate? 25%? Short-term interest rates are high right now. I saw a credit card the other day with close to 35% interest rate on it. It's crazy. One of these revolving credit cards from a department store. You don't have to put up with that. If you own a home, you can tap into the equity that you have in that house, refinance at a great low rate, and you can eliminate that credit card debt. Imagine saving $1,000, maybe $1,100, $1,200 a month that you're not shipping out the door to a credit card company somewhere. You've refinanced with a great low rate. My friends at Golden Oak Lending, okay, they can get you started right now. All you got to do is call them, explain your situation. They'll tell you if they can help you or not. They're going to be honest with you. They're not just trying to sell you a refi. They're like credit counselors, so to speak. They're mortgage officers who will tell you the truth. 314-567-GOLD is the phone number. Call them today. Don't lose any more sleep over this. 314-567-GOLD. Tell them you want a debt consolidation. You want to get equity out of your house and pay off those credit card debts. They can get you closed in a very short period of time. And best of all, then you don't have any mortgage payments for 2 months as well. And all that money stays in your pocket. 314-567-GOLD. Online at goldenoaklending.com. Their NMLS number 114937.
From the gateway city to the front lines of freedom, this is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the D.C. Council and their absurd laws.
Yeah, Janine Pirro there, the U.S. attorney, talking yesterday at this news conference the president held on crime in the D.C. area. I mean, it was pretty wide-ranging. This thing went on for a long time. The president took all questions. Of course, a lot of it focused on his plans to clean up Metro D.C. We've got Ryan Schmelz on the line with us this morning from Fox News Radio. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So what we did, I think the bottom line is we determined yesterday the president does not want you as a reporter to be comfortable by building a big, beautiful briefing room.
Well, it's been that way for a long time. It's actually remodeled actually. So that's the most comfortable it's ever been. But yes, it has always been a tight space, and I think that people always thought it was a lot bigger. But now that the room's gotten more people, and I think people are starting to see a lot more about how tight that space can be.
Well, you're in there more during this administration because Joe Biden rarely held news conferences.
Oh yeah, and we've had it's just more people there in general. I mean, like there's been you go there, it's a circus some days.
Sure.
There's so many press and they're utilizing the space more because a lot of times some of these officials will have a gaggle after they do a hit on one of the TV networks. So they'll set up all the cameras right outside where all the cameras are, and they'll come and do like a gaggle. So there's just so much more happening than what we're used to.
Ryan, do we have any details about how this whole plan will be rolled out?
From what I understand, Kash Patel had a briefing with some of his top officials yesterday to kind of go through kind of what the next steps are. We believe that eventually there will be 700 or 800 or so National Guard troops deployed to the area. And what they're going to be doing, I think it still remains to be seen. There are some legal authorities that the National Guard and just the military in general don't have when it comes to, making law enforcement arrests or doing crowd control or crime control. So what their specific job's going to be, I think we're still kind of trying to feel that out and see what that's going to be.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm interested in your take on it. I mentioned to Kim, I used to come up here for that Federation for American Immigration Reform conference every year.
Yeah.
And the last time I was in D.C., I remember having a conversation with a couple of the network reporters there, and I'm like, hey, what do you think of this restaurant or that restaurant? I was trying to figure out a place to go eat, and they're like, yeah, it's fine. It's about 6 blocks from your hotel. So if you're going before dark, it's probably safe to walk over there. But I would take an Uber home. Don't walk back from there in the dark. Like that was a couple of years ago when people were warning about that. What's your sense living and working in that area?
I think that's kind of a sentiment that a lot of people feel. I live in the Navy Yard area, which is where Nats Park is, and that's a place that has, I would say most days I feel safe, but we have a crime every once in a while, and it is just the wildest thing you'll ever see. The stuff what happens. We've had a couple fatal shootings at the Metro stop by in Navy Yard. We've had a shooting at the building across the street from me, and I believe there was another shooting over the weekend at one of the buildings here. So it's been happening. There certainly is a big concern that people have here, but to get it, what's interesting too is the teenagers that President Trump was referencing yesterday. Navy Yard actually went into a curfew recently for juveniles because that issue had become such a problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the problem. We've had that here in St. Louis, and quite frankly, it doesn't do much. If it's not really enforced because they have bigger fish to fry, you're still going to have the crime. And so that's why I would argue that this is necessary, this federal takeover. Are they going to be there indefinitely? Is that the plan? There's no, obviously we don't have an exact start date, but we don't have an end date either, right? It's just however long they're needed.
Legally, he has about 30 days without any type of congressional approval after that to take action here. So the clock is ticking when this official, takeover of the D.C. Police Department goes into effect. So, Congress gets back in a month, less than a month, I would say now, and they would probably have to extend it at some point. So he is a little limited in terms of how long he's allowed to do this for and what specifically he can do.
Yeah, very true. Well, Ryan, be safe up there, my friend. Thank you.
I'll do my best. Thank you both.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Ryan Schmelz there up in D.C. this morning. He lives there. You were listening to him. He said he sees some crazy stuff not too far from the Capitol building. I honestly, it's not unlike St. Louis. And if you look at the overall crime stats, it's worse here technically than it is in D.C. Statistically, per capita,
right.
It's worse in St. Louis
but
than
we
it is
don't
in
have
DC.
world leaders coming to St. Louis on a regular basis. We don't have the White House here. We don't have all these things that D.C. has.
But when we do, we clean up the homeless problem.
Right, that's right. There's all of a sudden a project to restore the City Hall.
All right, coming up, we'll get to John Lamping, former state senator, on whether or not Missouri is likely to redistrict.
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! It couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
All right, let's talk about the month of August and the fact that if you are a pet owner, you are in luck with my friends at Zero Res, because August is Pet Appreciation Month. What does that mean? Well, that means you're going to get a great deal, and you're going to get rid of those pet odors and all of that at a great discount. Zero Res is safe for your pets. They don't use harsh soaps. They don't use harsh chemicals, hence the name Zero Res. So if you've got a 60-pound golden retriever like we do, accidents happen, right? Things get spilled. Sometimes the dog has an accident. You try to clean it up. Let Zero Res come in here. Here's their offer right now to you, the 97.1 special. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $129. Then they'll give you 15% off any pet odor treatments that you need, and another $50 off if you want to have the air duct cleaning done, because all of that dog hair that you see laying on the floor that your Roomba picks up every day is probably getting into your ducts as well. You can get all of that taken care of and get your home Zero Resified right now. Take advantage of it. They have a 4.9 rating on Google, over 5,800 reviews. Schedule it and tell them Marc Cox sent you. 314-474-2020. And ask for the 97.1 special. It's ZeroResSTL.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 79 degrees now, 6:31. A St. Louis police group calling for juvenile justice reform after a teen was arrested for 2 separate carjackings in 2 days. The Law Enforcement Legislative Coalition says the current point system that determines how long a teen is held is broken. The group also pushing for their criminal records to be shared with other jurisdictions. A petition with more than 600 signatures is pushing for MoDOT to install sound walls along Interstate 270 between Olive and Page Boulevard. Residents in that area say noise from traffic is so loud that they have a hard time sleeping. MoDOT says it doesn't do noise barrier projects on existing highways unless there's an expansion project that would be triggered by a new noise study. In sports, the Cardinals beat the Rockies yesterday. Final score 3-2. Game 2 coming up tonight, Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are working on a multi-vehicle accident, and this thing is northbound. Northbound 270, just a little bit south of 6440. There, at some point, someone said there were 9 vehicles involved. So we've got all kinds of tow trucks on the scene. The left lanes are blocked, and of course, traffic is really jammed behind us. So northbound 270 is a parking lot from just north of Doherty Ferry to this accident site. Now, that is definitely the worst of it at this hour. We've got a little bit of volume westbound 70 headed for Wentzville, but eastbound looks fine from out west into downtown. 64 is in good shape. No problems on 44, and we look great on the Illinois side in general and on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by Infinite Vitality. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Tired of aging skin? Infinite Vitality reverses collagen loss, tightens with Morpheus and microneedling, and fades age spots. Look naturally younger, not plastic. Visit infinite-vitality.com. Mention Annie for a $50 credit.
All right, I'm really looking forward to fall weather, especially with Dave Murray talking about upper 90s. But this is the time of the year when you get really excited to have a nice outdoor space. And if you're walking to your backyard and you're like, this just isn't what I really want, you'd like to have your own little oasis, let my friends over there at Lakeside Renovation and Design make that happen. They're going to do all the hard work, the stressful stuff. They're going to take care of all that for you. They'll partner you up with one of their in-house designers. By the way, their entire team over there is in-house. They're not outsourcing to third parties. You're not chasing around people. They don't even know who's working for them. These are all people who actually work for Lakeside Renovation and Design. But all you have to do is dream and share that dream with them, and they're going to make that into a reality. They've been doing this here in the St. Louis area for about 30 years. They have an A+ rating from the BBB. Just go read some of the 5-star reviews, and you're going to see why so many people will keep going back to Lakeside Renovation and Design for any project they have, because they basically do everything inside or outside your home. Let's say you've been wanting to renovate your kitchen or create the spa-like bathroom. You've been wanting to have more livable space to be able to host your family and friends. Could be finishing your basement, adding a deck. Like I said, Lakeside pretty much does it all. They even do windows and siding. And they use these top quality materials that are designed to last, right? Because it's not worth your time or your money, quite frankly, if you're just going to replace whatever's on your home right now that's not working with the same thing. Plus, Lakeside's going to back up their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Give them a call today. Ask for a free consultation, 636-978-5000. They're online at lakesiderd.com.
The Cards, the Rockies.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45.
Play ball.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, to be clear, listen, all those big blue states, they've already gerrymandered. Look at the map of Illinois. Look at the map of California, New York, and Massachusetts, and so many other blue states. They gerrymandered a long time ago. They got nothing left with regard to what they can do. And know this, if California tries to gerrymander 5 more districts, listen, Texas has the ability to eliminate 10 Democrats in our state. We can play that game more than they can because they have fewer Republican districts in their states.
Yeah, Governor Abbott there talking about the criticism he's taking down there for maybe adding 5 congressional seats. I have a friend, Kurt Schwab, who's running in one of those districts, and he's pretty excited about the whole thing. It increases his odds of getting elected in the great state of Texas. So we're going to see what happens with that. But right now, Drew, let's get to our friend John Lamping, please.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
People keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem. Government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks. We'd never miss them.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
All right, John, welcome back to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Mark Kim, great to be with you this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. You heard Greg Abbott there. I love what he's doing in Texas because really Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, Kathy Hochul, they have nothing to complain about. They're hypocrites. They have gerrymandered their states to the greatest extent humanly possible.
Well, that's for sure. It's a game they've been playing for generations. I don't see where there's a whole lot of room in those states to add any more Democratic seats. And it is good to hear Abbott be so forceful. You know, it looks like they're going to add 5 or 6 seats, but if they wanted to go to the greatest extent that these Democratic states have done, like he said, it could add 10 more. So I think between this and redoing the census and not counting illegal citizens, illegal aliens for purposes of apportionment, of number of House seats, I think Republicans are on the verge of majorities that they can sustain for quite some time.
What's not talked about, it seems like, enough is the fact that there's nothing unconstitutional about what they're doing. Because the biggest thing I hear a lot of these Democrats complaining about is, well, you're supposed to do this during the census. Well, sure, maybe this is how they've done it historically, but that doesn't mean it hasn't happened outside of a census. And even if that weren't the case, they still can do this.
Right, and I think New York just did it 2 years ago. So, and everywhere you turn, and whenever they start to argue, when they argue from Illinois, which is the most gerrymandered state in the country, they seem very hypocritical almost immediately. On some level, I almost feel like the press is starting to give up with some of the arguments that the left is making. It'll be interesting to see how quickly this can actually get done. This is a great time of the year to do things like this because it's a relatively quiet time, and it's far enough away from the elections of the midterms next year that by the time people go to vote next year, whatever goes on now will be way in the background, and it won't be. But if there's a downside to any of this, it won't be able to be used. So I hope that they move quickly, and within between now and maybe October 1st, all this gets done.
Well, I feel pretty confident, John, that you and I talked about this a couple years ago when the Missouri legislature was considering a 7-1 map, and we just couldn't get some of the lily-livered politicians who claim to be Republicans in Jeff City to go along with it. And now suddenly there may be a change of heart. What do you think the odds are of that happening?
Well, I'm of the mindset. I mean, I kind of believe it when I see it. This is if you think about, the map now is 6-2, so it's 75% to 25% representation. The state is 60-40, right? So I know, Mike Keogh is very uncomfortable doing things that are, partisan in nature. And again, we've talked many times. He's not ideological in how he pursues politics, and he really completely tries to stay away from things that he considers partisan. He would tell you that he feels, I think privately, that 75-25, the current map, in his mind, is a partisan map because the Democrats are underrepresented as a percentage of their total vote. And I think, he can live with the way it is now because, the Democratic votes are concentrated in certain areas. To go to a 7-1 map, I think privately he's very against it and prefer not to do it. But I think he's going to have to do it. Certainly if the president calls him and tells him he wants it to get done, he'll have to do it. And then politically, it could be a very, very important moment for him. And that my feelings about him as being not too partisan and not too ideological are feelings that are held by many Republicans. But if he steps up and does this act and pushes through the 7-1 map, I think he can point to that as a moment in time where he was partisan, he was Republican, he was red meat, and that he stood up for what most of Republican voters in Missouri would want. So, like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. It's uncharacteristic of him, but I'm hopeful that it does come to be. And there's no reason it shouldn't be. And I've seen a lot of the different versions of what a 7-1 map would look like. And essentially, it ensures that in all those 7 districts that we're mostly represented by either outer suburbs or rural areas, and that really is where the strength of our party exists. I think Ann Wagner's district would include western St. Louis County, but I think that it's more important that her district include more people that live outside of the urban suburban areas because that's really where our voters live.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You mentioned St. Louis County, and it'll be interesting to see how this whole race for county executive ends up playing out because, Dennis Hancock obviously has said that he is officially running, and we don't even know what will happen with Sam Page. He's facing these indictments, and I think his court hearing is scheduled for sometime, I want to say in September. How do you see this playing out?
I'll call it now. I've had the opportunity to get to know Brian Williams. He's a state senator from North St. Louis County, and I know him a little bit, but I also know a lot of people that have worked closely around the Capitol that have tremendous respect for him. And I feel it was just a matter of time before he would seek higher office. I don't think this race will be particularly close if he runs the campaign I expect him to run. As much as I'd love to see St. Louis County go back to the Republican side and have Dennis Hancock be the next county executive, we've had some tremendous county executive candidates over the last 10 or 20 years as the county has become more and more Democrat, and all of those fell short. Rick Stream, the most recent close outcome, and I think the doors probably closed to Republicans, and I can acknowledge political talent when I see it, and I think Brian Williams will win this race. And the only question in my mind is whether or not Page bothers to even go through the primary. When it becomes obvious that Brian will win, what you're going to see happen in this race is you'll see the number of candidates will increase dramatically, and that'll be an attempt to try to fracture the vote. Most certainly the Page camp will find an African-American candidate to put forward. Brian happens to be African-American. But I think when all is said and done, if he runs the race I expect him to run, I don't think this will be particularly close.
Interesting. maybe, and I'm just going to hold out hope here that people get to the election box in the general election and they realize how the last two Democrat administrations ended in indictments and potentially prison time for both of them if Page was to be convicted on these allegations. Maybe there is an opening here for Dennis Hancock. He said he's planning to reach out to those people who are Democrats who maybe are disenfranchised from what they've seen here.
Yeah, it could be. Though I think we're at a moment in time where somewhere along the way here, I think that Western St. Louis County needs to Western St. Louis County and maybe like Eureka, down that they all need to petition the state to annex themselves from St. Louis County and move into St. Charles County and Franklin County. As much as you and I can all look at the city and say, well, of course, no Republican can ever represent the city. It's only 10% Republican. Well, 30 or 40 or 50 years ago, it was 35% Republican, and it just became inevitable that it no longer can be represented by a Republican. I think we're pretty much there in St. Louis County. I mean, think about it this way. Sam Page has been elected twice.
I know.
So what does that speak for the electorate? It means that, we as a country have separated ourselves into areas, and people that consider themselves left, far left, in the highly educated / elites that represent a big portion of the Democratic Party, they've all concentrated themselves in St. Louis City and primarily St. Louis County. So I just don't see where that's going to change anytime soon. So, but yeah, Brian Williams is, obviously I think he's a very effective state senator. He obviously represents the principles of the left, but he does it in such a way that I think if we ended up with him as our county executive, it wouldn't be horrible. Of course, I do recommend that most people that would have him as county executive would consider to move to St. Charles County.
There you go. You're the best advocate for that. We appreciate it. John, thank you.
Oh, great to be with you both. Take care.
You bet. Former Senator John Lamping there. He's right. I mean, St. Louis County is purple at best, maybe blue now. There's just no way around it. Dennis Hancock, who I supported this race, would need to get a lot of across the aisle support in order to win. It's an uphill battle, but he's not given up. I think that's the important thing. All right, coming up, we got in other news for you next hour. We'll talk to St. Charles County Chief Kurt Frisz on this effort to crack down more on juveniles who get a slap on the wrist and go out and repeat the same crimes over and over again. That's coming up at about 7:20. Stay tuned.
Burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews remain on the scene of a 9-vehicle accident this morning on northbound 270 as you approach 64. The left lanes are blocked, and so many cars, we had to get that many tow trucks. So it's been a while. And northbound 270, as a result, is a parking lot jam back to about Big Bend. Great place to avoid this morning is northbound 270, or just give yourself extra time. Lindbergh looks fine if you want to use that as an alternate. 141 has some slow spots, but it's better than 270 right now. And northbound 55, just a little slow there, headed into the construction zone. And that starts around Bayless. It continues up to just past Loughborough. Things are quiet on the Illinois side. We look pretty good there. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
All right, big opportunity here for my friends over at Window World. I've been talking, you hear me all the time talking about these high interest rates. If you're doing short-term financing, that's what you're facing, right? Trying to get anything financed in the short term, the interest rates tend to be rather high. So Window World is helping you out here. They are offering between 18 and 36 months interest-free financing on your new windows. if you've considered this, if you need one or two windows replaced or you need all of them replaced, why not look at that? You get the windows installed now, you get the energy efficiency, you get the beauty, and then you can take your time paying for it, and you're not penalized for that at some high interest rate. It is interest-free. Call Window World today. Tell them you heard me talking about it. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800. You can always go to their website and check them out. When you go there, you'll see their great reviews with the Better Business Bureau and their great Google reviews they have on there. They have always been ranked number one for a long time now in Windows by Qualified Remodeler Magazine. That's because it's simply the best for less. You're starting with a great price on these windows, and you get the lifetime warranty. That's how much confidence they have in their windows. Glass breakage, labor, they take care of it if something happens with it. And, of course, the preferred window of our St. Louis Blues. Call them today. Tell them Mark sent you. 314-993-1800.
This is Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. When I tell people who get in a crash, call a lawyer, but I often hear, I'm not the suing type. Listen, there are all types of people. Personally, I'm not the getting screwed type. If you're not the getting screwed type, call my firm, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen to you. Call Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Missouri Grit. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
Quite sure what was going on with the music.
But what
there.
was that?
What
Was this a Halloween song?
It's a Rolling Stones, but it's long intro.
Oh, okay. All right. As a lot of them are. All right. I saw the memes before I realized that this had actually happened, that the first female ump played in the was in a Major League Baseball game. I saw the memes of the lady throwing a guy out because he had disagreed with her in a dream she had the night before. So I just have to tell you that in advance. And I'm reading the story, and of course, Outkick, it depends on who you're reading it from, played it a little differently than everybody else. In the first game behind the plate, Jen Paywall was just a Powell, P-A-W-O-L. I don't know how you pronounce it. Jen Powell was just another MLB ump, unless you look closely, and some of those pitches were 4 inches out of the box that she was calling strikes on. Now, I'm just saying, men and women look at things differently. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah. I joked that I joked that it was going to be that she would call someone out because it was not what they said, but the way they said it. I know I've used that argument with my husband.
I know we can have some fun with it, but I don't know. I just didn't see they did apparently chart her calls after the game, and I would need really an expert in here to comment on whether or not she did a good job or not.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Couldn't tell you either.
No.
Hey, do you hear that Paramount's going to be the new home of all, I guess, UFC events? This is starting next year. It's a 7-year agreement. Were you saying, Drew, it's an $8 billion merger?
Yeah, so $7.7 billion merger. They're going to put all the content on there. So it could be the death of pay-per-view. But they might do like one-off pay-per-views, but like outside of that, yeah.
Well, so in other words, they're giving up that revenue from pay-per-view, but they've got they've got
$7.7 billion. I think they'll be happy with that, right?
I
hope so.
Pretty good trade-off. And then, of course, the fees for Paramount are going to go up now, right? To be a subscriber to that.
And
That's what I hated when I was trying to figure out how to watch Yellowstone and all that other stuff. Every season, it seemed to be on a different channel.
Oh, I know.
That really pissed me off.
I know.
Because I'd wait till the night the thing was going to premiere, and then I'm looking for how I can watch it, and then I realize, wait a minute, I'm not subscribed to Paramount Plus.
But you can do a free trial for 7 days, and then after that, it's like $150 for a month.
That is maddening to me. All right, well, you may go to work reporting to your boss one day, but find yourself reporting to a new person between you and your boss the next. This story is, they claim that it's a new way to do demotions. It's called layering. So in other words, you didn't get the promotion, but now you've just suddenly find somebody ahead of you in the pecking order.
You're reporting to a new boss in between your old boss.
Yeah.
That's the layering.
So it's just sort of, basically what they're saying is it's a way for them to give you a message that maybe your future is not here.
Try harder.
You've been layered.
People listening right now are like, wait a minute.
Wait.
That just happened to me last week. I've been layered.
There's a term for it now.
Hey, real quickly, your dog Summers actually could be the next Air Bud star. Did you hear about this? They're on a nationwide. Yeah, come on now, Mark.
She can't catch a ball.
She's so cute. It's a nationwide search to find the next basketball star. They're going to be coming out with some. I don't even know how many Air Buds have been
There've been
released.
a few.
A lot. Okay, they're doing another one, of course. And your dog, if it's cute enough, and I guess if it could catch a ball, maybe that's part of it.
Bounce a ball. Yeah, mine will not even. Mine's a retriever who won't retrieve a ball.
But she's such a sweet girl.
She's a sweet girl, but not the brightest bulb in the room, I can tell you that. Coming up, we're going to get to Kurt Frisz, the St. Charles County Police Chief. We'll talk a little bit more about what they'd like to do to increase penalties on juvenile offenders.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Annie with my friend Stewie, and you know Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan gets you your mortgage or your refinance at no closing costs. And I have Stewie with me right now. You're all about saving people money. Fiscal responsibility is really in right now, and you've got something up your sleeve for these folks.
You know what, Annie? Some people like to get better cash flow. Other people just want to pay off all their debt. So we're going to do something very, very unique. In Scotland, it was traditional to paint the door red once you paid off your mortgage. So we're going to give you the Red Bagel Challenge. If you refinance with us and you consolidate your debt and you get your mortgage paid off in half the period of time remaining, we're going to give you a $1,000 bonus at the end of that term.
Well, Stewie's all about helping you build your wealth and build equity, and the Bagel Loan is another way to do it. Remember, no closing costs with the Bagel Loan. Reach out to Stewie directly with 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google Bagel Loan for more information, NMLS number 226715.
Grounded to third, diving play by Arenado. They get the out! Unbelievable!
Get ready for the ultimate showdown. The New York Yankees come to Busch Stadium the weekend of August 15th through the 17th, and and they're bringing the star power. See sluggers like Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton take on your Cardinals in one of the biggest series of the season. Finish off your summer in style with the Cardinals and Yankees. Great seats still available. Get yours now at Cardinals.com.
This is Nolan Arenado, St. Louis Cardinals, Fort Lulu.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game, it's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody, it's our favorite song.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
International borders must not be changed by force. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News has what European leaders say in a statement this morning ahead of Friday's summit in Alaska between President Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin. They say they welcome the attempt to stop the war in Ukraine, but a path to peace can't be decided without Ukraine. Its president will not be at those talks.
I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties.
And Fox's Peter Doocy reports from the White House, President Trump is doing things differently than the Biden administration.
They would all get on the same page so that they could all present a united front, Europe and the U.S. and NATO versus Russia. Whereas now, President Trump is just going and doing this stuff on his own and calling after. So there's definitely a lot of curiosity among the Europeans. But President Trump has decided he does not want them at the table for this. He does not think that that approach was working.
China has been given 3 more months to work out a trade deal with the U.S., so a looming spike back up in tariffs on imports isn't happening.
It would have gone back up to 145% today. Today was the deadline, but that has now been extended thanks to President Trump. So now it's going to be 30%. Chinese tariffs on U.S. goods is at 10%, but that would have gone to 125%. That was China's threat.
That's Fox Business Network Cheryl Cassoni. Later this hour, we'll find out if tariffs have led to more inflation. We'll get the Consumer Price Index for July. Economists expect a slight increase from June and a slight rise in the annual inflation rate. Dozens of Democratic Texas lawmakers remain out of state, blocking a vote on a congressional redistricting that could give Republicans 5 more House seats in next year's elections.
Any consequences that comes to us being here, we will gladly take. Because to defend and protect the Constitution, but most importantly, to defend and protect this nation.
State Rep Jose Garcia among those now in Illinois. Republicans have threatened them to be arrested. America's listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Our time right now, 7:03, 79 degrees. A new partnership between St. Charles County Schools and dispatchers aims to improve 911 response time in emergencies. Last night, the St. Charles County Council voted to pass an ordinance that will give the school districts the option to share maps of their buildings with first responders. This information, by the way, will not be available to the public. We're now in week 2 of the Boeing strike with no end in sight. This comes after the union, made up of about 3,200 machinists, rejected the company's latest offer of a 20% raise over 4 years. A Boeing spokesperson says no future negotiations are scheduled. A new pet emporium and sports bar set to open in Bar K's Place after, you might remember, the St. Louis business abruptly closed last month and then filed for bankruptcy. So this new space will include a canine carnival with trainers as well as grooming and boarding services. It's not exactly clear at this point when that new bar will open. In sports, Cardinals beat the Rockies yesterday. Final score 3-2. Game 2 coming up tonight at Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. 7:04 is our time, 79 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are still working with a 9-vehicle accident northbound 270, just a little bit south of 6440. They've got the 2 left lanes blocked, and it has created a parking lot jam that goes back near Big Bend. Also a slow go this morning, northbound 55, especially headed for Bayless. Slow pockets through the construction zone until you get north of Loughborough. Now, other than that, we look pretty good. However, there is a jam on westbound 70 as you approach the Wentzville area. That goes back through Highway A. Eastbound traffic is fine through there. But all of this road work has created some volume on southbound 61. It's mainly moderate, but it's approaching Highway A down through 64. And if you're headed in from Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown. And we're pretty quiet on the Illinois side in general right now. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Kind of typical run-of-the-mill August weather over the next couple of days, but just heads up, upper 90s are back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On this Tuesday, partly sunny, kind of hot and humid, but again, nothing out of the ordinary. We'll keep an eye out for a couple of scattered thunderstorms, 92. 73 tonight, 90 on Wednesday, 92 on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
79 degrees right now at 7:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere. Just download the free Odyssey app.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, happy Tuesday to you. Welcome in. You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. That would be me. Glad you're with us this morning. A great start to the day out there, and at least we are not in South Florida where they could have a hurricane very soon. So we're doing okay up here. Kim St. Ange in here with me this morning. Ethan Bright continues his vacation. He's back tomorrow. Drew is filling in for him this morning, and we appreciate that. Sue Thomas is going to have all of your traffic coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Great conversation last hour with former Senator John Lamping. If you missed it, I'd highly recommend you go back and pick up the podcast. You can go to the Odyssey app if you have that. That's one easy way to do it. 971talk.com is another way. We podcast every segment on the show. So if you can't listen to the entire 4-hour broadcast, you can go back and listen to key interviews. And John Lamping was talking to us about redistricting and the fact that they tried this in Missouri a while back. He's not sure the governor's on board with it. So that was an interesting conversation. If you're hopeful like I am that we go to a 7-1 map, you have to understand some of the challenges to getting there. And I think that's what John explained very well for us. That was at about 6:35 this morning, so you can go back and find that for us. Coming up, we've still got Wiggins in the studio in the 8 o'clock hour. We will get to Mark Walters for 2A Tuesday, and always look forward to that and find out what's going on around the country on Second Amendment issues. Speaking of crime, coming up, we're going to talk to Kurt Frisz in a few minutes. He's the St. Charles County chief because of this juvenile problem that's been going on. Now, this is not new. It's been going on for years. Remember, Kim, when they tried to solve the juvenile crime problem downtown by banning the Lime scooters?
I forgot about that.
It's like that out of the scene in The Jerk where the guy's shooting the oil cans and he's like, it's the oil cans. He hates the oil cans. Guess what, you idiot? Duck. He's shooting at you. They completely missed the point on that.
They missed the point a lot. What was
Yes.
the whole debacle with wasn't it they were trying to build like a basketball court and they felt like as long as they had that would keep them from shooting each other and carjacking people. Wasn't that something too?
You were probably still in high school when they tried the whole midnight basketball debacle, and that was a failure. It was a flop, and people were stealing money. I mean, it was a disaster from day one. It never worked like they thought it would.
No, that's
because
shocking.
It's always some alternative way to handle the juveniles instead of locking their criminal butts up. And they're afraid to do it because they don't want it to follow them into adulthood. I'm sorry, some of these kids are already gone. They're used by older gang members who know they won't have any fallout if they're the one that steals the car, and they get slapped on the wrist and they go back out the next night and they steal another car and they get slapped on the wrist and the next night until there's some fallout, some consequence for doing that. Nothing ever changes. Now, whether that's locking up the parents who refuse to parent and discipline their child, maybe that's an option. I don't know. The police chiefs have gotten together, and their law enforcement legislative committee is trying to get some changes in Jeff City. And that's what we're going to talk to Chief Frisz about coming up here shortly, because something has got to be done. Something is going to have to happen out of this whole thing. There's no doubt about that. So we'll get to that for you coming up in just a couple of minutes. Right now, Drew, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Short List.
I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed, and so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many of those journalists sitting in that room yesterday were thinking to themselves, God, I hate it when he's right. Because their network may not let them take that angle, but they all have the same thought when they walk out their door in the morning in Washington to get in their car, is today the day I get carjacked. So he made a great point there, and I hope it drove it home for a few of them.
4 of the 5 seats we are adding are Hispanic majority seats that happen to vote Republican. Democrats are really upset about the fact is that their base voters, Hispanics and Democrats, are fleeing Democrats.
Yeah. The base that they've always depended on, the fact that they were trying to load the United States up with future new voters by opening up the borders, isn't working out exactly the way they would have hoped for those who are already legal and can vote.
As we go to break, I should note that the most violent moment in recent history in D.C. was January 6th. And it was an attack on the United States Capitol by a lot of people who were doing it in the name of Donald Trump. And it included the people who were hurt, included members of law enforcement.
Really, Dana, I think only one person got killed that day. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. Say the word. I also wonder if Dana Bash there, with her bias on CNN, is willing to point out that they tried to call the National Guard in, and Nancy Pelosi said no.
Police say around 2 a.m. Tuesday, a 36-year-old Lyft driver drove to the area of Carter and North Newstead Avenues in North St. Louis to pick up passengers. Moments later, he got the scare of his life.
Yeah. A couple questions come to mind here. This is our friend Robert Townsend, who I used to work with Robert over at Channel 4 years ago. He works at Channel 5 now. He's been featured 2 days in a row here on the program. Do you realize that?
Didn't.
Yesterday, I played the bite where he was talking about how the Mike Brown case highlighted police violence. And I ripped Robert a new one for that one because that is the opposite of what happened in Ferguson. Mike Brown wouldn't have been dead if he hadn't attacked a police officer and robbed a convenience store. So Channel 5 got it wrong. Now, in this case, he's just reporting on the fact that some Lyft driver was stupid enough to respond to a call on Newstead in North St. Louis in the middle of the night. First of all, what the hell were you thinking, right? Second of all, you paid for that. Consequence of that was getting carjacked. Now, that's just the beginning of the story, because the people that carjacked him were 14 and 15 years old. And they took his car, and there was a chase, and the police caught him. And then the police, because the juvenile laws are not very strong, they get a slap on the wrist, and they get released back to their parents, because that's how our juvenile system works. The next night, the little schmuck got arrested again for doing the same thing. What's the definition of stupidity? How long are we going to put up with this?
What kind of conversation did the kid's mom have with him? Surely she knew what had happened. Don't do that again. You shouldn't have carjacked that person. Okay. And then you go out and do it again. It's probably, you know who
gentle
it is.
Parenting.
Gentle parenting.
That's it.
Right. How are you feeling right now? Are your feelings hurt? Because I don't want to say anything that will upset you. It's the same type of mom, I should say, who her son was arrested on the 4th of July for setting off fireworks like an idiot, quite literally shooting them at people in cars here in downtown St. Louis. She has to go pick up her son at the police department, and I think she was even fined, and then dropped him right back off here in downtown St. Louis to continue shooting off fireworks.
People have just given up. They've given up parenting and responsibility, and I don't know what all the answers are to it, but some police chiefs have gotten together and kind of formed an outline of what they'd like to see the legislature do, because you got to change the penalties for this if there's going to be any change in what we're seeing at the street level. What's very clear is that the city of St. Louis is not going to independently handle it. They're just not. They have a wrong approach to law enforcement, unfortunately, when it comes to juveniles, and they'll argue, well, it's the laws that are on the books. So maybe there's a solution to that. We're going to get to St. Charles County Police Chief Kurt Frisz coming up right after the break here, and we'll tell you what they're hoping to get accomplished. Bottom of the hour, it is Tuesday. That means 2-8 Tuesday. We'll get to our friend Mark Walters about 7:35. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got an accident on northbound 270 just south of 6440. It involved 9 vehicles, and they're getting it cleared, but that's a lot of tow trucks. So the 2 left lanes remain blocked and a parking lot jam behind it. Back to Big Bend. Also, an accident just reported. There was a random rain shower on over 70. And we've got a vehicle reported into the median westbound 70 near Mid-Rivers. And we're kind of rain slowed out there. It's odd. But just be careful through there. They're out looking for that accident now. And westbound 70 is jammed. Highway A through Wentzville. Southbound 61 is slow in that construction zone, headed for 64. 55 slowing at Bayless in the work zone there. And we're pretty quiet on the bridges downtown and on the Illinois side. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. If you are starting to get closer to retirement and you're thinking, okay, how am I doing? Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Because you need one. I mean, you cannot just kind of go out into the great unknown, not understanding well how things work. This is why I say financial and tax architects make so much sense to me. What they do is educate you on how some things in retirement work. They do a class called Retirement Planning 101. Then they hold these at colleges throughout the area, and they say, okay, here's how to maximize your income. Here's how you reduce taxes in retirement. If you want us to work with you, we will tailor a plan looking at what you've got, and it will be specifically for your goals, for your values, for the amount of money you have coming in. You can have help navigating retirement, and it will actually help you make that money last through it. So call today and go to a class, 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101.
Land the way you've always dreamed of. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again.
August is Pet Appreciation Month. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, 15% off pet odor treatments, and take $50 off air duct cleaning. Book online today at ZeroResSTL.com.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Police say the suspect sped away in the stolen car and led officers on a pursuit that ended on Penrose. Several boys got away, but police took the driver, just 16 years old, into custody. They say they arrested the same boy Tuesday night after he allegedly carjacked an Uber driver a mile away on Kennerly.
These back-to-back violent crimes highlight the continued challenges that our community faces, though, especially when it comes to violent crimes involving juveniles.
You know, I know a number of people who are police officers in the city and the county and a lot of other counties around the area for that matter, but they're all frustrated by this. They all share that frustration of the St. Louis Police Department that they catch juveniles and then they catch them again the next night because there's no teeth involved in the law here. We're fortunate enough to have Chief Kurt Frisz with us from St. Charles County right now. And Chief, how you been?
Doing well, Mark. Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes this morning. You know, I looked at your release that you put out here from the Law Enforcement Legislative Coalition, which I think you head up right now. And this is something that's, I'm sure, been on your radar for a while.
It has been. We meet. We're made up of chiefs all across the state of Missouri and some private sector folks and lobbyists, and we come up with our legislative priorities. We're well ahead of the 2026 legislative session, so this is our top priority for the 2026 legislative session. We're already talking to Attorney General Bailey and starting to network with some of the legislators to let them know that we need to see a change in our juvenile justice system.
I know you talked about the point system being very broken because these teens are like Mark was just saying, they're getting let out way too early. What changes would you like to see? What do you think would help with this issue that we're seeing across the St. Louis region?
Well, you know, the problem we have is if you commit a serious crimes against a person, an assault, you need to be detained. Right now, if you're not in the system, I mean, you haven't been caught doing anything yet, you don't have any points, and you go out and shoot somebody, and there's an incident where a year and a half ago, a St. Louis City police officer shot up by a juvenile. They apprehended him, and they were told to take him home because he didn't have any points. And because that only qualifies you for 12 points, shooting at a police officer or shooting at anybody only gets you 12 points. So it doesn't qualify them for detention under this current point system. So it's a catch and release system that it just doesn't work.
How do you make that 100 points? I mean, I don't know what you're asking for here, but I mean, how much worse could it be if they'd actually killed the officer? Would they have been detained?
Yeah, in that case, they would have.
Yeah,
been.
well,
unfortunately, is that what it takes? I mean, I think we're looking for more common sense legislation that any serious crimes against persons or stealing of an automobile, any serious felony, they need to be detained until they have a hearing and determine a course of action moving forward.
Chief, is there any common sense conversation here about maybe reducing the age of what we consider to be a juvenile? I mean, is it now 18? I mean, should it be 16? Should it be 15? Because to your point and to the story Channel 5 did, this kid, it was, I think, 14 or 15, and they know they can get away with it.
Well, and to be honest, a few years ago, Missouri had to raise the age because it was 17, and they raised the age to 18, and frankly, it worked pretty well at 17. So I personally would like to see it back at 17. I don't know that we'll be able to get that accomplished, but what we're also not seeing is certifying juveniles as adults that are committing these serious assaults and crimes against persons. We need to see more certification as adults, especially when they're 17 years old.
Chief, did I see, too, that the different jurisdictions don't have access to a teen's criminal record? So if you arrest someone in St. Charles County, if they committed a crime, even a felony, say within the last year in a different jurisdiction, you wouldn't have access to all that information?
Yeah, that's correct. Unlike an adult, which we have access to that information, in the juvenile system, we don't have that, so we don't know. We're kind of flying blind.
I understand. We're talking to Chief Kurt Frisz, St. Charles County. I understand the long-standing argument that you need to protect these kids who make minor mistakes so it doesn't follow them their entire life, but we're at a different time and a different place these days. I think there has to be some acknowledgement of that. Who's pushing back against this, Chief? Do you know? Is it child advocates? I mean, who's fighting you on this?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll find. We're very early into this. We're trying to get in front of as we get into the legislative session. So we're well in front of this. So we don't know what kind of pushback. I do imagine exactly what you just said. There's going to be some child advocacy groups push back on this, the same people that push for raise the age and this point system that doesn't work. I think we're going to find some resistance, and that's when we get deep into the legislative session. We'll find out who that's going to be.
How do you see this whole thing playing out? I mean, legislatively, you're talking about some changes that need to be made, but what's the likelihood that this can actually happen in a timely fashion?
I think we're going to get something. We'll get something out of this. We're organized between the Missouri Police Chiefs Association, the LELC, the Sheriff's Association. We're doing a collective effort on this to have an all hands on deck approach, and so we're going to have a unified voice across the state of Missouri to accomplish this. So we're going to have a lot of state legislators, state senators that are going to support us.
Chief, I know you've got experience in St. Louis County, and you've been in St. Charles County. I mean, this crosses city lines, right? I mean, this problem is everywhere.
Yeah, it does. In fact, what's interesting is when we see juveniles come out here to St. Charles County, the 15-point rule can be left to interpretation. So our juvenile justice administrator out here, she feels like there's enough latitude in the law to, if it's a weapon involved or an automobile, still in an auto, they can detain them. And what we're finding, these kids from St. Louis City or St. Louis County that come out here to St. Charles County, they're detaining them. And so we're keeping them. And these kids are having a fit when they find out it's not a catch and release program in St. Charles County.
Don't mess around.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
And then until they get their hearing, so if they do it on a Friday, they're not going to get a hearing until Monday or Tuesday. And so they're going to stay the weekend with us. And they don't come back and commit a crime out in St. Charles County. So that shows it's effective.
Is the 15 points, is that the most? Is that like a murder? Or what do you have to do to get the most points, the highest number?
Well, as it breaks down, points 1 through 9 or the child should be released. 10 through 14, alternative other than detention should be taken. That means pretty much send them home, maybe an ankle monitor at best, and a score of 15 or above. So there is I don't know where the point system goes north of that, but the problem is, like I said, a serious assault on a person. You stab someone, you shoot somebody. That's only 12 points. So if you're not in the system, meaning you haven't been caught yet doing anything, technically they don't have to detain you.
Chief Kurt Frisz,
that's ridiculous.
is with us this morning. I got about a minute left here. Are you calling for any increase in penalty against the parents? Because that's a big problem. If they were held accountable for this, maybe that would fix part of the issue.
Well, yeah, and I think that needs to be part of the conversation because a lot of times that's where the problem starts is at home, and that's unfortunate. And but yeah, there needs to be some accountability. Just sending these kids home doesn't always resolve the issue because what a lot of us know is responsible parenting is not always the case. So that definitely needs to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, very true. Chief, we appreciate your time this morning, and good luck with this. We'll follow it as we get closer to December and January and the session gets started again.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much.
You bet. Great talking to you, Chief Kurt Frisz there from St. Charles County. It kind of makes me glad I just moved to St. Charles County because these kids are not getting away with that crap out there like they are in St. Louis County and maybe City.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Wow. All right, coming up, we're gonna talk to my friend Mark Walters with Armed American Radio. A gun dealer is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn another state gun law. We'll get to that for you when we come back.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with Truehold. With Truehold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's Truehold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. Truehold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit Truehold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
All right, you pick them. You don't have to take my word for it. Lots of 5-star reviews out there from my friends at Rhino Shield because, like me, there are a lot of satisfied Rhino Shield customers. And what does that mean? Well, maybe you're satisfied because it's exactly the color and beautiful, vivid color that you wanted, right, with the trim and all of that. They can do in different colors, just like you would with regular paint, but it lasts for so long. Maybe you're happy because you're not out there scraping or having to pay somebody to scrape and paint every 4 or 5 years. That's what happens with regular paint. Not Rhino Shield. Goes on thick, waterproofs your house completely, protects it from the rays of the sun, gives you an insulation factor. It's fantastic. They've used it on HGTV, on unpainted brick, block, aluminum, steel, hardy cement board. It's fantastic on all of it. Call them today for a free evaluation, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 79 degrees now, 7:30. A St. Louis police group calling for juvenile justice reform after a teen was arrested for 2 separate carjackings in 2 days. The Law Enforcement Legislative Coalition says the current point system that determines how long a teen is held is broken. The group is also pushing for their criminal records to be shared with other jurisdictions. A petition with more than 600 signatures is pushing for MoDOT to install sound walls along Interstate 270 between Olive and Page Boulevard. Residents in the area say noise from the traffic is so loud that they have a hard time sleeping. MoDOT says it doesn't do these noise barrier projects on existing highways unless there is an expansion project that would be triggered by a new noise study. In sports, Cardinals beat the Rockies 3-2 yesterday. Game 2 tonight, Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, some good news in traffic. They have cleared that accident northbound 270 south of 6440. There were 9 vehicles involved, so that's quite an achievement. And traffic is thinning out, but the damage was done, and we have a slow go that goes all the way back really to Highway 21. So, yeah, not great. Now, there is an accident southbound 55 just south of Butler Hill. They've got the 2 left lanes blocked there. Traffic slowing in both directions. Then 55 is really stacked up today. Headed for the narrowed part of the construction zone. That starts around Bayless. Doesn't look better until after Virginia Avenue. Now, we've got 141, of course, really slow, especially northbound as you head for 44. And it's slowing right around Gladiator, and it continues slowly up to north of the Merrimack River. We've got eastbound 6440 with some moderate volume, especially at Winghaven and also at 170 through Big Bend. Westbound 70, there was that accident. It was just past 370. That's been blocking the left lanes. Some volume there, and then it jams Highway A out through the Wentzville area. On the Illinois side, we now have some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, time for me to brag a little bit about my friend Curtis over at Corel Roofing. I've known Curtis now for years, and a fantastic guy, local guy, St. Louisan, a veteran who has started his own roofing company a few years ago, and they do outstanding work. They just replaced my roof. Here's the thing I love about it. Somebody knocks on your door wanting to replace your roof. How do you know what they're telling you is the truth, right? Are you a roofer? Do you know what they're going to put up there? You need somebody you can trust. So I can personally refer you to my friend Curtis. He's a great guy. He was on my roof. He got up there with the estimator. He circled the problems. The estimator agreed with him. I got a new roof put on and new gutters. Now, Curtis then went over and checked my daughter's house 2 miles away and was honest with her. You don't have enough damage for a claim, and that's what you want. You want somebody you can trust is going to give you what you're paying for when they get on your roof. That's what Curtis Carrell of Carrell Roofing will do, and I'll tell you what, he's also going to specialize if you need luxury roofing. He handles architectural shingles and metal roofs and other luxury shingles like that. So if you're looking to get an estimate after the recent storm damage or whatever on your roof, one person to call. Call Curtis, 314-222-9529. Let me give you that again, 314-222-9529. That'll get you to Curtis, or you can go in and check him out on Facebook at Carrell Roofing Co.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Your voice, your values. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size? If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is 2A Tuesday, brought to you by the Range St. Louis West.
Foreseeable future, the state Supreme Court ruled it is legal for Minnesotans to carry weapons that do not have a serial number. A 1994 state statute criminalized them, but the justices said the rule was too vague. While they agree ghost guns are dangerous, they decided Minnesota state lawmakers should regulate them through legislation.
Wow, how about that? Let's invite Mark Walters in here from Armed American Radio. Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, St. Louis. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet, man. Always great having you on. I saw this story. It caught my eye because, of course, the whole word ghost gun is designed to scare the hell out of people. But in Minnesota, of all places, they've decided it's legal for people to carry a ghost gun that they've assembled at their house.
Why shouldn't it be? When I was listening to that news report, they all agree ghost guns are dangerous.
Yeah, I heard that.
What makes, let's explore that briefly for a second. What makes a ghost gun dangerous?
Well,
that it doesn't have a serial number? A serial number isn't a trigger. A serial number isn't a mind. A serial number isn't a criminal. What makes the ghost gun dangerous? It's just a physical tool. That's all it is. And, we could take this back. I was talking, it's kind of interesting when I heard that clip. I was thinking about the conversation I had on my show yesterday about what was happening in Michigan in an article that I had read by a woman named Marcy from Women for Gun Rights in Michigan, who wrote about Traverse City and how the left always jumps to gun control. Michigan attack was a knife attack. Yet the media doesn't knee-jerk react like they do to this, to a knife attack, only when it's a gun. And if it's a ghost gun, somehow it's worse. When, as if that person couldn't have stolen a gun or maybe bought a gun, whatever it was. So I don't understand, though. This is a thing that you have to try to get in your mind, right? is to try to get in their minds. It's really hard to do.
Well, these are people in Europe. What was that? What European country was it where they were trying to dole the knives because there were
Britain, wasn't it?
was it? There were
Yeah.
so many
that was
knife
Great Britain,
attacks.
yeah.
They think that that's the solution is to dole the knives.
Yeah, you can't slit somebody's throat with a dull, pointy. I don't know.
Kitchen knives.
It's crazy, but yeah, that's what they do.
How you going to cut your steak if you don't have a sharp kitchen knife? I mean, come on. All they eat is meat and potatoes
You
in
get your,
Great Britain.
your
Come
samurai sword off the wall and you just cut your steak that way.
Yeah, maybe they should dull the front of the blade. You're not supposed to poke holes in it and let the juice out of it anyway. If you're doing that, you're the guy that smashes the hamburgers on the grill and gets rid of all the fat. You don't want to do that.
I know. I wondered that article you're referring to out of Michigan. I mean, what was the lady pointing out the fact that it was probably 2 or 3 days later before the mainstream media would admit that whole situation was ended by a good guy with a gun.
Yeah, and of course I had to exacerbate that situation because that was a huge topic of conversation on the show for a long time.
Yeah.
Sadly, including Fox News, who didn't report it until after CNN reported it, either on live television or on their digital platforms, on their website. It was fascinating to me.
Yeah, I read it on the Daily Mail first. Daily Mail had a picture from the scene of the guy being cornered by the guy with the gun. And I'm like, well, how come I haven't heard any other mainstream media outlet report this yet? Well, that's a key.
And it was interesting to me that it was CNN that did it before anybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe CNN thought, hey, let's try to get the jump on this. What I don't understand, and I want listeners to think about, is it's just part of a news story. The news story is guy stabs a bunch of people, gets cornered by people who try to help that are unarmed. They themselves get cut up until a guy with a gun steps up. Why leave that out? That's just part of the story, which proved, and a huge part of the story, by the way, that's what makes it such a huge human interest story. And these stories should be top leading stories across major news networks as they unfold. And they, as we know, many of them have never been reported, and they should have been. But why do they feel that they shouldn't report that part? That's just proof that there's an agenda behind what it is they're reporting. And that should concern everybody, because where else are there agendas that are being hidden that we're unaware of?
Yeah, there's a filter there. We're talking to Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. There is a filter there. We've seen it. Remember when Barack Obama lamented the days, he lamented the current media days. He wanted to go back to the days of Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw, where you had to get all of your news filtered through 3 outlets. And then it was okay, right? They didn't want you to have an alternative point of view. They all reported the exact same thing.
Well, that's why they're all upset about getting rid of, NPR and all of this. It's been so one-sided. The media coverage has been so one-sided for so many years, and they've controlled it and controlled the narrative. And you can go back and look at the montage clips, right, of every single anchor on any outlet all repeating the same word over and over and over again. They're literally being handed talking points, and that's how we get our news. And that begs the biggest question of all. Why would anybody believe anything they tell you? When you know they lie about certain things, you think that's it? They only lie about guns? No, they tell you what they want you to hear, and they leave out what they don't want you to hear, which is, in many cases, that lie of omission, far worse and more dangerous than the BS in misinformation that they're giving us. Here's an example. Chris Murphy. We all love and hate, Chris Murphy, the anti-gun zealot who, for whatever reason, wants to put his face on Twitter every single day now. And that's fine because he's great for content. But he put a tweet out yesterday. Let's be totally clear. Trump's decision to take over the D.C. police isn't about public safety. The most violent cities are in Republican states, and there's no takeover happening there. What Chris Murphy apparently is too stupid to understand is all of those cities are Democrat-run in the red states. We'd love to get rid of the blue cities in the red states. Guess what would happen? There would be no more violent crime. It's all coming from Democrat-controlled areas, and he got eaten alive.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm
so stupid, it's embarrassing.
I'm so glad to hear that. I'd missed that, but that's a perfect response. You and I have both complained about the fact that the Supreme Court has not been quick enough to take up some of these challenges to gun bans. In Washington State, they have a high-capacity magazine ban that their own Supreme Court upheld earlier this year. And now there's been an appeal to the Supreme Court. You think this is something they look at?
I'm going to have to drive listeners to go and listen to the podcast version of my show when I was at the Gun Owners of America this past weekend. On Saturday, I interviewed constitutional attorney Mark Smith, who laid bare what he believes the Supreme Court is going to do going forward relative to gun rights. And he does not believe the Supreme Court is going to take any magazine ban case whatsoever until they address the quote-unquote assault weapons ban first. And you dive back into what Kavanaugh wrote that you and I talked about a couple months back in his, I guess it was, you would call it a dissent, or he wrote a statement about how the court is going to revisit one of these cases in the very near term, which, according to attorney Mark Smith, is likely going to be the next term coming up.
Yeah.
Because they can't address that ban until they address the gun itself, which we know will win that case. And when we win that case, that's when the court will likely look at one of the magazine ban cases, but we're kind of looking at it backwards. It was an interesting take, but it's on my podcast if you want to go to armedamericanradio.com and listen to that fascinating conversation with Mark Smith. It's very complicated, but he lays very bare what he believes is going to happen there. So that's a great question, but what Mark said would seem to make perfect sense.
Remember when they banned the arm braces and we argued that it was only an accessory, right?
Yeah.
The Supreme Court in Washington, in a 7-2 decision, ruled that high-capacity magazines aren't guns. They're just a component or an accessory, and therefore it's okay for the state law to regulate them.
Yeah, but they're accessories that are inherent to the functioning of a firearm.
Correct.
Which, of course, falls under the purview of the Second Amendment and therefore cannot be banned. And that's where you have split decisions. All of this that we're talking about will get hashed out by the Supreme Court. And I think what was even more fascinating with Mark's take, my response was that Thomas is dying. He's itching to write one of these opinions.
Yeah.
And he agreed with me, but he believes Kavanaugh might get the opinion on an assault weapons ban case based on past references to what he has said before, the way this has played out. So this is going to be really fun to watch. But I want people to understand, we're going to win these cases. And we know we're going to win these cases. So feel good about that. It just takes time, unfortunately, but we will get there.
Too much time for particularly my brethren here in Southern Illinois, who are having their Second Amendment rights stomped on every single day by J.B. Pritzker. So the Supreme Court action has been too long delayed, in our opinion, for sure. Mark, thank you, my friend.
It looks like he's on Ozempic, so he's running for president.
That's a good point. Oh, man. Remind people where they can listen to Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's armedamericanradio.com. Just click listen live at 3 o'clock Central Time, and at 7 o'clock Sundays. You'll get me 6 days a week talking about these issues. Thank you, guys.
You bet, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
All right. See you. Thank you for that. Good insight there on when and where we might get some of these challenges. They've got to overturn this thing in Illinois. It is a blatant, in-the-face violation of the Second Amendment to the Constitution. There's no doubt about it. Kim, what are we talking about in Kim on a Whim?
I'm always so encouraged by everything that RFK Jr. is doing as it relates to the MAHA movement. And just when they take like 5 steps forward, some stupid company takes 10 steps backward. Wait until you hear what one company is doing in the name of climate change.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, plenty of volume out there. There's an accident southbound 55 south of Butler Hill. That's been blocking the 2 left lanes. Traffic slowing in both directions there. We've also got 55 slowing in the construction zone, especially around Bayless up through Virginia. We've got northbound 141 especially slow, and that's headed for 44 this morning. In fact, it's slow all the way up to the Merrimack River. We've got eastbound 44 slowing at Bowles. We've got a report of an accident east of there. And northbound 270 was really affected by an early morning accident. We've got slow-moving traffic between, it's 44 on up through just south of 64. 141 is jammed at 64 as well. Now, westbound 40 is lined up. Kings Highway out past McCausland, slowing again at 270. eastbound, just some moderate volume out west. Slower at Timberlake Manor and approaching 170 through Big Bend. 70 westbound jamming at A. We had an accident that happened. There was a random rain shower out there. 70 at 370 and a slow go. And some volume if you're headed in from Illinois. This report brought to you by Infinite Vitality. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ready for real weight loss? Infinite Vitality helps you lose 8+ pounds a month with peptides like tirzepatide. Track fat loss with 3D imaging. 2 months for just $400. Mention Annie for a $50 credit. Infinite-vitality.com.
All right, so when I talk about Home Shield Foundation repairs, I'm often talking about leaky basements. That is certainly a big part of what they do, but they can also come out and they can do polyjacking at your home. If you've got an older driveway, and maybe parts of it have started to sink a little bit, it's uneven, water stands there when it rains, your kids trip over it, your grandkids trip over it. You don't have to put up with that anymore. You don't have to replace the whole driveway. You just let my friend Matt Hayes come out there. They use this polyurethane that they insert under the concrete into these gaps that have been caused by soil erosion, and it lifts the concrete back up to where it's supposed to be, and it supports it. And it's an easy fix. It is maybe less than a third of the cost of what it would cost you to go have a new square poured for your concrete driveway or your sidewalk or your front porch. And Matt's shown me examples of this all over the place where he's leveled up concrete around pools. He's had to help pull porches up closer to the house that they've started to sink a little bit. You name it, let Matt come out and look at it, and then you can figure out if that is something that works for you. But the guy you're dealing with is the owner. Matt Hayes owns Home Shield Foundation Repairs. He'll be the one you're meeting with. You can call him at 314-227-9636. That's 314-227-9636, or go online today to homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
The Cards, the Rockies.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're a different kind of wireless company dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Because let's face it, our needs are different. Big wireless unlimited plans are designed for 20-somethings, not us. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on one thing, bringing you affordable, reliable rate plans that suit your needs, not ours. How do we do that? We start by using the same towers as the big guys, the exact same towers. We then create rate plans designed for your usage. The fact is, we can offer you an unlimited plan with the same network quality for less because we understand how you use wireless services. Our plans start at just $20 a month. And forget trying to chat with robots. You'll get 100% US-based award-winning customer service when you need help. Come find out how wireless should be and join the millions who've made the switch.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Live, local, and conservative. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk. Kim on a whim.
There's just always stupid stuff they're coming up with in the name of, well, they would call it health. I would call it the opposite of that. But they're trying to protect the environment. Listen to what they've come up with now. Some business that's out of Illinois, just west of Chicago.
It looks, smells, and tastes like the butter we're all familiar with, but without the farmland, fertilizers, or emissions. tied to that typical process. And this butter breakthrough, it's happening right here in Batavia. In the middle of an industrial park in a suburb west of Chicago, something unprecedented is happening.
So you're using this gas right now to cook your food, and we're proposing that we would like to first make your food with that gas.
The company is called Savor, and you better believe it. Their pioneering tech uses carbon and hydrogen to make the stick of butter you see on this plate.
Doesn't that sound good? Butter made from gas? Who wants to eat that?
From carbon?
Yes, carbon and hydrogen, and they're making sticks of butter that look like what you probably have in your refrigerator right now. But of course, you go to their reasoning, and it talks about how it will significantly reduce our carbon footprint, and it's all about emissions, and this is better, and it's not hurting the farmland, and all this stupid stuff. Why are they doing this? And Bill Gates, this should not surprise anybody, Bill Gates is backing this company and says this is a fantastic idea. Yeah, let's all make food out of gas and eat it. Why? We have RFK Jr. leading up HHS, thank goodness, okay? The MAHA movement has made incredible strides. And then, again, it's like you have them saying, hey, we're taking out the dyes. Hey, we're doing this. Hey, we're doing that. We're taking out the mercury from vaccines and all these different things. And then you have stupid companies that think that this is a good idea to make butter out of gas.
Yep. Like the hydrogenated oils and all that stuff. I mean, I'm sure I ate margarine for years, but we've gone back to real salted butter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why there's a sudden need to do this unless it's to what? Cut down on the need for dairy cows? Are you trying to hurt the dairy industry? Is that it?
I guess. It says of the 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases emitted every year, 7% of it is from the production
cows?
of fats and oils from animals and plants, which Savor, the company making this butter, says makes their process the most climate-friendly option.
Give me some cow flatulence, please. Honestly.
No, seriously.
The smell of the great outdoors, to walk out your door and the guy next door just got some manure spread on his corn crop, and it smells disgusting, but it's only temporary.
It's funny how they're all saying, well, this is going to help the climate because it has a small carbon footprint. What do the farmers think about this when their cows are no longer needed to produce the butter, to the milk, to the butter, because they're just going to make it out of some lab and say it's healthy?
Bill Gates behind some crap like this because he's on this whole climate change where he jets around in his big carbon footprint private jet, multi-million, telling you to eat not butter. I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it tastes like carbon.
Can't believe it's gas. Savor, the company, says they take carbon dioxide from the air and hydrogen from water, heat them up, oxidize them, and they get a final result that looks like candle wax, but it's in fact fat molecules like those in beef, cheese, or vegetable oil. So if this sounds yummy to you, then by all means, please indulge in your carbon butter.
It makes me about as anxious to eat that as I would be for an Impossible burger. No, thank you. No. Just say no to all this nonsense. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk more about what's going on in the Francis Howell School District with the superintendent who never was the superintendent but got $200,000. We'll be back.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, but our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Homeowners, listen up. The realtor you choose really matters. I mean, I've known Gloria Lou for years. I'm a customer of hers. She sold my house 1 year ago. I've met her clients. She's the real deal. Your home sold or she'll buy it. That's the guarantee she gives you. Call her at 314 325-6888, or go to GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. How many other realtors are telling you this? Gloria will guarantee in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. In Kirkwood, the Johnsons sold in 5 days, $15,000 over asking. In Chesterfield, the Smiths got multiple offers in a week. That's what Gloria can do for you. Call Gloria at 314-325-6888, or go online anytime, as I mentioned, and be sure and tell her Marc Cox recommended her. Go to GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Did you know August is Pet Appreciation Month? Marc Cox here for my friends at Zero Res. They want you to know Zero Res is safe for all pets, no harsh soaps or chemicals, and right now you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $129. Then get 15% off pet odor treatments and $50 off air duct cleaning. Trust me, I own a 60-pound golden retriever. Sometimes your pets can make a mess. Zero Res is good on carpets, tile, hardwood, rugs, upholstery. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call my cleaning pros at Zero Res. Call 314-474-2020, ask for the 97.1 special, or go to ZeroResSTL.com. They have a 4.9 rating on Google, over 5,800 reviews. 314-474-2020. Spell it backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A tame inflation report. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. There was no increase in the annual rate despite worries about tariffs. The July Consumer Price Index staying at 2.7%, same as June. The monthly increase 0.2%, and here's what helped keep the rise modest.
Energy prices down 1.1%. Gasoline prices down 2.2%.
Fox Business Network show Casoni, the update's better than expected, so stock futures are rising. The report comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which had a shakeup after the worse-than-expected July jobs report with massive revisions down in hiring for prior months that prompted President Trump to fire the commissioner. Well, yesterday, he nominated E.J. Antoni, a Heritage Foundation conservative economist, to take over, posting on Truth Social that the numbers will be honest and accurate. The president's given China a break, extending a deadline to make a trade deal 3 months.
They have tremendous tariffs that they're paying to the United States of America. And we'll see what happens. They've been dealing quite nicely.
If he didn't sign that extension, tariffs on Chinese imports would have spiked back up today to 145%. Now they remain at 30%. Friday, the president will again make a push to stop the war in Ukraine.
Describing Friday's summit in Alaska with Vladimir Putin as what he calls a feel-out meeting. For now, one person who is not expected at that meeting is Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Despite strong calls from European leaders for him to be there, President Trump says he plans to phone Zelensky and European counterparts after the session with Putin.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. European leaders put out a statement this morning saying there can't be a Russian peace deal without Ukraine's involvement. At least 10 people are recovering near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the morning after an explosion at a U.S. steel plant that killed 2 others and left the facility badly damaged. The cause of that investigation, that explosion, is still being investigated. America's listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, it's Mike Rowe, and if you want to do business with a company that actually stands for something, switch to Pure Talk. I did. Sure, I appreciate being on America's most dependable 5G network with unlimited talk and text for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is Pure Talk's commitment to our military and to our skilled workforce. That matters to me. Save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Sunny 79 degrees here downtown at the Arch at 8:03. A new partnership between St. Charles County Schools and dispatchers aims to improve 911 response time in emergencies. This comes after the St. Charles County Council voted last night to pass an ordinance that will give the school districts the option to share maps of their buildings with first responders. By the way, this information will not be available to the public. We're now in week 2 of the Boeing strike with no end in sight. This comes after the union, made up of about 3,200 machinists, rejected the company's latest offer of a 20% raise over 4 years. A Boeing spokesperson says no future negotiations are scheduled. A new pet emporium and sports bar set to open in Bar K's Place after the St. Louis business abruptly closed last month and then filed for bankruptcy. So this new space will include what they're calling a canine carnival that will include trainers as well as grooming and boarding services. It's not clear at this point exactly when that new bar will open. In sports, Cardinals beat the Rockies yesterday. Final score 3-2. Game 2 tonight at Busch Stadium. First pitch is 6:45. 8:04 is our time, 79 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some accidents scattered throughout the area. The latest is one northbound 55 past Loughborough. They've got the right lane blocked, and of course this is in the construction zone, which is already a slow go, so beware. We've also got an accident southbound 55 south of Butler Hill. That's been in the left lanes. We've got an accident on eastbound 44 at Bowles. That one on the right side. Looks like the right lane and the right shoulder blocked there. Northbound 270 never really recovered from an earlier accident, and slow pockets there between Gravois and Ladue Road. Northbound 141 is jammed at 64. It's really jammed, headed for 44 because of that accident. And eastbound 6440, some volume out at Winghaven, and then between looks like Clarkson now and 270, but that's mainly moderate volume. Slowing again at the Interbelt with westbound jamming right at Clayton Skinker. 70 kind of the same way. Now westbound is jammed at Highway A, but moderate volume out west through 270. And if you're headed in from Illinois, there is some volume on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Point Pest Control is reminding you it's time to spray for mosquitoes. How can something that tiny interrupt your outside gatherings? Have Point Pest Control spray today so your next outside gathering is mosquito-free. 636-798-0023. Mention Annie to save an additional 10%. PointPestControl.com.
70
and insulation weather.
Kind of typical run-of-the-mill August weather over the next couple of days, but just heads up, upper 90s are back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. On this Tuesday, partly sunny, kind of hot and humid, but again, nothing out of the ordinary. We'll keep an eye out for a couple of scattered thunderstorms, 92. 73 tonight, 90 on Wednesday, 92 on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
79 degrees now coming up on 8:07. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere. Just download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, welcome back into the Marc Cox Morning Show. It's a Tuesday morning. Beautiful start to your day out there. Glad you're back here with us. Of course, I'm in here with Kim St. Ange, and Drew is in this morning for Ethan. He'll be back tomorrow. Sue Thomas with all of your traffic. Great to have you along. We are, of course, rapidly anticipating the departure of one Kim St. Ange, and nobody is anticipating that more rapidly than Kim St. Ange. And would I be correct about that?
Yeah, you might be. Yeah.
Is that even possible that nobody wants this baby to get here sooner than you do?
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm very uncomfortable. It's been a very hot summer, and I'm almost 40 weeks pregnant. But at the same time, there's a million things that my husband and I still need to do. So I'm almost like, okay, you could stay in there for maybe another week.
Oh,
then we're ready to go.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're evicting the baby in another week. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
what
when
you're
the
saying?
notice goes out.
Okay,
Mhm.
I see how that works. So then normally I would say there are 4 of us in the room counting the baby.
It's true.
This morning we have a fifth person in the room who's going to be helping us out in your absence whenever that happens, because you're hoping it happens early, but it'll at least happen on the 22nd. Is that correct? Is that our
But
date?
the due date is the 28th.
Yes.
I could go over my due date. I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess it could.
All right. Well, I don't know if we've got him pulled up on camera here or not.
There we go.
But,
Now I do.
The one and only Dan Buck, a longtime friend of mine, former coworker at Channel 4 years ago, and of course he worked at Show Me over at Channel 5 for a while, and has been all over the media for years and involved in kids sports and all kinds of stuff, pop-up bars, you name it. This guy's done it. Dan has agreed to fill in for Kim for at least part of her maternity leave, and we're thrilled to have you in here, my friend.
Today I'm a newsman in training. She's a great trainer.
Can you believe that
me.
I'm the one who's training you on how to do this? Who would have thought that would be the case?
No, you're good, and I love this show. You guys know how much I listen and enjoy everything about it. When you called me and said, hey, what do you think about filling in during her maternity leave? I'm like, oh, yeah, sign me up. Too much fun. I mean, you and I we were kindred spirits when I was at Channel 4 briefly, about a year and a half. And
Yeah.
I moved over to Channel 5 to launch Show Me St. Louis. Was there almost 10 years. I did talk radio at KTRS. But I always thought, God, sometime Mark and I, being of like mind, like spirit, need to get together and have some fun. So we're going to have like 10, 12 weeks. How long are you going to stay out? I was wondering about that.
12. I guess it'll
Long
end up
as
being.
you're gonna
Are you
milk every
maxing
minute
it? Are
that
you
you
going to
can.
max it out?
Absolutely, I'll max it out. So the 22nd is for sure my last day here, whether I have the baby or not. I'm tapping out.
You're quitting? Okay, all right.
Yeah. So for sure that will be my last day, and then we'll be on baby watch. But yeah, so it'll end up being about 13 weeks or so that I'll be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And Dan, you'll be in at least, 3 days a week with us?
Yeah, probably 3
Okay,
days.
yeah.
I still have a day job. I do some development real estate work. We've got a big project at Osage Beach and another one at St. Robert, and sometimes I'm called away on those. So I told him I could commit to 3 days a week minimum. Some weeks I might be able to give you 4.
By the way, one of our listeners, Lisa, says that she met you playing pickleball a while back, and that you'll be a fun addition.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. In fact, my doubles partner tonight on pickleball is Lisa. I wonder if it's her.
Oh, maybe.
Could
Lisa.
be.
All right. I
Might
wonder.
be.
Lisa May?
Not Lisa
no.
May.
No?
no.
Okay.
Okay.
She's on
All right.
Facebook, so that's
All
why I
right.
said her last name.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love pickleball. We'll definitely be talking about pickleball.
Where do you play out there at what is it?
In
Chicken and
Newtown.
Pickle?
and Pickle, or is
Yeah,
there
I
a new
do
place?
play Mondays Chicken and Pickle. I've got 2 leagues I'm in at Newtown Pickleball Club, which is a great group. We have 12 courts there. Actually, I think 16 courts now. They just added 4 more. So
Mark, don't you have strong thoughts on pickleball?
No. Well, I played pickleball.
Let's get this
let's
relationship
get
started
this.
off.
Let's
Let's
go,
tee things up. Mark, what are your thoughts on
I
pickleball?
have
Let's go.
played pickleball, right? But my comment on pickleball was that my wife had to go get the PR, is it PRP shot that includes
know.
stem cells in her knees because she ran so many marathons.
Oh, sure.
And I asked the doctor, I'm like, wait a minute, you're an orthopedic surgeon. Aren't you losing money if you can repair somebody without having to have them undergo surgery? And he said, don't worry, pickleball has saved the industry.
So are you saying it's an old person's sport?
He's like,
Is that what you're
these
saying?
people are coming out of retirement thinking, I can't play tennis anymore, but pickleball will be easier on me. And they're ripping tendons left and right and tearing up meniscus and everything else. So,
and it is true. I mean, I still play baseball and hardball, so
nice.
I stay in pretty good shape doing that. And the transition to pickleball wasn't too bad. But I can tell you, there's people trying to do things athletically that they should not be doing. Right, going back on balls, I've seen more people wipe out backing up on balls and they lose their footing, smash their head. I mean, it's bad. But I could see where orthopedic surgeons love this
They
sport.
love pickleball. They do. I've played a few times. My wife and I took a couple of lessons. Same rules apply for me. You have to stay out of the kitchen,
Oh
right?
yeah, I don't.
Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do call it the kitchen.
Absolutely.
That's about the only
So-
thing I know. I'm not good at pickleball. I don't really get it. The scoring irritates me.
That scoring is the hardest part.
Yeah.
No question, the hardest part.
I played in a tournament for Folds of Honor. They were for the junior board of Folds of Honor was raising money, and I agreed to play in it, even though I probably only played the game 5 or 6 times in my life, and we were 0-for. Like we got beat by
Like a
all
drum.
11 teams. Like we came in dead last at that tournament, but it was fun. We had a good time. Worked up a little bit of a sweat, and
Well,
got our rear
we'll
ends
have to
handed
go
to us.
out. I can teach. I mean, a little bit. I know enough about the game to help people understand the rules and and once you start playing though, and you get decent at it,
Yeah.
it's crazy competitive. It's so
Oh,
much
I know.
fun. Yeah. And you're always trying to build your game and get better, and you go out there and get schooled by a 78-year-old dude. You're like, okay, I got to
Humbles you a little bit.
I am not quite where I need to be, but
Yeah.
it's a finesse game, but it can be a power game. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I know it probably satisfies your competitive spirit because you've been a baseball player for years.
Yeah, and still play on two hardball teams too. So
wow.
every night of the week, I'm usually going somewhere to either play pickleball or go play hardball. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Those 4 a.m. wake-up calls will come very early.
I tell you what, I got up late today because I didn't have to be here to train till 6. I'm like, God, how does he do this every morning? And then it's a 4-hour show. I've never done a 4-hour show in anything, not TV, not in broadcast. The longest I was probably ever on would be a ball game. You know, the play-by-play I did for years was a 2.5-hour gig. You know, your games only last 2.5, maybe 3 if it's extra innings or something. But man, this is a grind.
Dan, pray for my good health because if you're filling in for her and I get sick, pal, guess what? We're sliding you over here. I just got to tell
They
you
did it to me, they'll do it to you, Dan. No,
Throw 'em to the wolves.
I enjoy filling in, and I'm very thankful that you're filling in. And I mean, you and I met years ago when I was working at Channel 4. And I know you're sitting right here, so it sounds like I'm just saying this, but I genuinely can't think of a better person to fill in. Like it's a good fit.
I'm going to reveal a little secret too. I was your biggest admirer because of what you did at Channel 4 to challenge their. And I don't even know if you talk about it publicly.
No,
or
I
not,
do.
But
Don't worry.
Yeah, okay. I was like, well, maybe I'm revealing something.
No, you're not.
But she was out covering the Powerplex when we were fighting Sam Page to try to stay open and doing everything in our power to keep our people employed and keep kids playing and to keep the sports world going for youth in St. Louis. And she came out to do the story, the only reporter who was fair. Everybody else, of course, was attacking us for trying to stay open and challenging. And we were the only ones actually tracking health numbers of kids in sports. We had every club, every organization reporting through a database. We had tens of thousands, actually about 38,000 kids we were tracking, and how many of them got COVID, how many of them got hospitalized, how many of them died. Of course, that number was 0. And the hospitalizations were so minimal, and those were kids with complications that had other challenges. And so we had the only database in St. Louis, and she came out and actually reported our numbers. She actually was fair to us, and I thanked her for being so fair. And she says, well, thank you for challenging the government that is absolutely doing this. And I said, well, we're not even making our employees vax. I said, that's a personal choice. I'm not going to tell my employees whether they take a shot or not. And she said, well, not me. I'm being threatened by my job for not taking the vax. And, of course, Kim, I just think so many people admire you for holding your ground and not doing that. And I know that baby inside you is very grateful that you did not take a vax, that we still are seeing the ramifications and who knows what the negative effects long-term is going to be on people who did take it. So thank you. And I admired you for that. So
it's a good point. All right. Well, Dan's going to hang out with us the rest of this hour. I've gone a little bit long here, so I think I'm going to do the short list, Drew, when we come back here. In next segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about this Francis Howe superintendent situation where the guy got paid without a single day's work. How did that happen? We're going to talk about it when we come back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. Well, a couple of issues out there. We have a jam on northbound 141 that's really extensive this morning as you try to get all the way on up through 44, and it's back to Bowles. Now, there was an accident eastbound 44 near Bowles on the right side that caused a delay through there. Accident southbound 55, and that one was closer to Butler Hill, a little south of there. They've been working on that one. It started in the left lanes. Northbound 55 is really jammed headed into the construction zone, especially around Bayless. Northbound 270 never recovered from an earlier accident. Still slow pockets between Gravois, and now it goes up through Ladue Road. And if you are eastbound on 40, it is, of course, slowing. Let's see, right at Timberlake Manor, but again at Maryville Center at Mason, east of Lindbergh through Big Bend with westbound slowing at Hampton. Yeah, it's a slow go out there. Now, we've also got a report of an accident, and this looks like it's northbound 141, just really close to Creve Coeur Mill Road, a little north of there, causing a delay. Eastbound 70 slowing at 270. And some moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Not a solid jam, just a little bit of a slow go through there. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Hey, you know what? The heat is far from over. Those of us who lived here long enough know that. We'll be talking about this in September and maybe even October. Who knows? But don't get stuck in that heat. My friend Corey over at the Air Comfort Service team can take care of you. They've got maintenance plans you can get on to keep your system running in the heat and in the cold. And, of course, they've got emergency service if the thing breaks down in the meantime. This is why I want you to remember this number. Just put it in your phone. Write it down somewhere, 314-513-0091. You're facing a steep repair bill. Maybe you're questioning your quoted repair. Call Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. They'll give you a free second opinion. 314-513-0091. There's a reason they've gotten the Better Business Bureau Torch Award. There's a reason that they've been named a top workplace. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews. This is the company you want to work with if you have got heating or air conditioning issues, or you just need to get the system checked out before things start to cool off. This is the company. 314-513-0091. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go to aircomfortservice.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Unapologetically right. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
All right, welcome back. A little long in that last segment. I want to go ahead and hold on just a minute here. Let me go ahead and get to our top stories as soon as I can get my computer turned down. Can I just tell you how irritated I am when websites autoplay things
when
you're
Channel
trying
4?
to look at something?
They do that all the time.
So does KSDK.
Every single time I go to the website, I want
autoplays.
to claw my eyeballs out. It's so irritating.
It's just one of my biggest pet peeves, particularly when you're on the radio and sometimes your computer is left up, which is not Drew's fault. It's my fault. I should have known that. And then that happened. So I apologize for that. But let's get to our top stories, Drew. How about that?
The Marc Cox short list.
He's out of control, and it's shocking that Fox News allows him to continue this way over a sitting member of Congress.
Woo! Marjorie Taylor Greene is mad. You know who she's mad at? She's mad at Mark Levin, the doctor, as Sean Hannity calls him. These two are clashing over support for Israel and what Israel is doing in Gaza.
Every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it.
Yeah, it's true. The President Trump is starting to address this problem in D.C. Now, when he has success changing this, I think you're going to see a wave of changes just like it in big blue cities across the country.
4 of the 5 seats we are adding are Hispanic majority seats that happen to vote Republican. Democrats are really upset about the fact is that their base voters, Hispanics and Democrats, are fleeing Democrats.
Woo! Governor Greg Abbott down in Texas not taking any prisoners over this whole idea of redistricting. He said this is the reason the Dems are mad. They're widening these lines out. There are more Hispanic voters, but the Hispanic voters are voting for the Republican candidates.
We're making it possible to actually command decisively in the military, which is how you close with and destroy your enemy. We lost track of the basics, Laura, and we're restoring the basics at the Defense Department, maybe soon to be the War Department.
Ooh, let the cat out of the bag there. That, of course, Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, maybe soon to be War Department Secretary. Maybe that's what they'll call him if indeed that change takes place. I would be in full support of that, by the way. I want to get to this story about Francis Howell real quick. When I was on vacation, I think, when this thing broke, because we really haven't had a chance to cover it yet here on the show. But so they got a guy named Mike Dominguez. Still had Pete Hegseth in my brain. Mike Dominguez, who was scheduled to start July 1st as the new superintendent of Francis Howell. And the Board of Education approved a separation agreement for him instead. So he had yet to work a single day, and they paid him 11 months of his salary and then signed a separation agreement that won't allow them to talk about it. So, Dan, I think you live in northern St. Charles County. You weren't directly affected by this, and neither was Kim. My tax dollars in the Francis Howell district went to pay this guy $229,000, and he never did a day's work for the school district.
Good gig if you can get it. I mean,
I have
you
questions.
Let's get a contract and pay me.
Yeah, I have questions about this, and questions that the current school board needs to answer. Number one, why would you sign an agreement that where the public deserves answers on this? These are taxpayer dollars. Remember, the school district got in trouble for all the cost overruns on that high school out there, and there was no transparency into how that happened, and that led to basically an overthrow of that school board, and they got a new school board in, and then conservatives failed to show up in the last election, and the NEA managed to get its slate of candidates reelected. Now, so whatever's happened here is this guy's getting a payout. The reason that he didn't stay employed is still very murky, but it appears that a search firm helped locate him without doing their due diligence, because after he was hired and signed to a contract, some information became available to the board that led them to believe they no longer wanted to employ him. It had something to do with his work in the last district. Sources say something about some out-of-court settlements for sexual harassment claims, and that they decided they no longer wanted to be associated with him. Well, lo and behold, they looked at the wording of the contract, which apparently no district attorney had read very well, and it said that once his start date had happened, which was July 1st, they owed him all the money.
How did that get overlooked? How did someone not catch that? And now, by the way, he's hired at a school district in Oklahoma, I think, as an assistant superintendent. So they don't either care about those allegations or whatever's going on in court, or they didn't find him either.
Lots of questions. Where were the objections found of Mr. Dominguez? Were they simply insinuation? Were they true? I don't know. If I was hiring somebody to pick up dog poop in my yard, I would Google them first.
Yeah.
How does a school district hire a superintendent without Googling them and doing a better background on them than that? That you find out after the fact that you're sorry you hired them, then you're on the hook for their salary.
You just need his attorney's name because he needs to write your contracts in the future.
Yeah, really, we'd like that.
So that if, you don't want to show up or something comes up and they don't like you anymore, you still get paid, Mark.
Oh, boy.
What a deal.
Well, a lot of people are now demanding accountability from this board. They need the board, the leader of the Board of Education out there, the board president now, Stephen Blair, is going to have to come out and make a statement on this and explain to people how in the hell this happened. The public, the taxpayers, we deserve an explanation over all of this. All right, coming up, we're going to get to Wiggins America, Ryan Wiggins, on the woke Snow White movie he just watched.
Hey, is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com. This August, Ruler Foods is turning up the savings. Through the 19th, stock up on fresh, flavorful, and affordable favorites. With Kroger 80% lean ground beef, only $4.99 a pound. 18-ounce packs of juicy blueberries bursting with flavor for $2.99 each. Sweet, crisp, red and white seedless grapes, only $1.88 a pound. Kroger Grade A large eggs, a breakfast essential at a price you'll love, $1.99 a dozen. Family favorite in the Fry House, Jack's Pizza, is ready when you are at a hot price of 3 for $10. All this and more at Ruler Foods, rulerfoods.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. ESPN and Fox plan to offer their upcoming direct-to-consumer streaming services as a bundle beginning in October. Both Disney's ESPN and Fox's Fox One will launch on August 21st, before the start of college football and NFL seasons. The bundle will be available for $39.99 per month. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says Ford is recalling over 103,000 F-150 pickup trucks in the U.S. over axle bolts that may break and result in vehicle rollaway or loss of driver power. Walmart will pay $5.6 million as part of a settlement in a consumer protection lawsuit that alleged the retailer overcharged its customers. Officials said the company is accused of selling products with less weight than was shown on the label. Futures are slightly higher after a tame inflation report. Monday, the Dow Industrials lost 200. The Nasdaq down 64. The S&P 500 down 16. That's Your Money Now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Crews are working with an accident eastbound 44 near Bowles. and they've got the right lane blocked. Traffic, of course, is jammed back to 141, and that's jamming 141 northbound from about Bowles on up. We also have just a slow go on northbound 270 today. It all started with an earlier accident, but we've got slow pockets between Gravois and Ladue Road, and even southbound traffic is slowing at Ladue Road, although that's not terribly unusual anymore. Now, eastbound 64, an accident reported near Mason, some slow-moving traffic there. Eastbound 70 jams just east of 270. And northbound 55, still a slow go in the construction zone south of Loughborough. And we've got volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, my friend over at Rhino Shield, Darren, sent me some pictures the other day. He's got a really exciting project that he's working on right now. He is going to be repainting with Rhino Shield this 100-year-old steel and metal Lutheran church over in Campbell Hill, Illinois. He's going to make it look just like new again. And, of course, if he's got Rhino Shield on it, it's going to last a long time. It will be beautifully durable. So whether you're a business owner, a homeowner, maybe you're on the board at your church and they're thinking about repainting, you need to consider letting Rhino Shield give you an estimate on this. You don't have to worry about the outdoor maintenance for a long time, and it doesn't, for the most part, matter what you're putting it on. I would imagine if Darren came over and absolutely found a material he couldn't coat with Rhino Shield, he'll be honest with you about that, but it works on aluminum, steel, brick, block, that hardy cement board, stucco, and when it goes on, it makes your home or your business 100% waterproof on the outside. It rejects the sun's rays, so it gives you an insulating factor. It's just a quality product. Had it on my house for 17 and a half years and couldn't say enough about it. On your home, it'll come with a 25-year transferable warranty. So why wouldn't you want to make that investment? Call them today. The evaluations are always free. Tell them Mark told you to call 877-25-RHINO or online anytime at 877-25rhino.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com. Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
Brotherhood of Rock. Now they celebrate 25 years. Sticks. Kevin Cronin, former lead singer of REO Speedwagon. Special guest Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Friday, August 22nd, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Sticks. Kevin Cronin, Don Felder, Brotherhood of Rock.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
25 years strong. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
This was my father's kingdom. A place of fairness. But the Queen changed everything.
Take him away!
Your Majesty.
What did you say?
The people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins. All right, we got Ryan Wiggins with us by phone this week. And Ryan, I guess you were probably captivated by Snow White as you were forced to watch it this weekend, right?
I was not captivated, but I was captured by my wife who wanted to watch this movie. I was going to avoid it for my entire life.
I would have.
Yeah, I guess have you guys seen it?
I've seen like maybe, 30 minutes of it, and then I stopped watching. It wasn't as bad. I was preparing myself for it to just be completely, woke this, woke that. It wasn't as bad as I thought. But again, I didn't see enough to really make a full movie review. Sounds like you did.
Is it because you couldn't? Could you finish the movie? Is that why you couldn't?
Bored. I got bored.
Yeah. It really is about as bad as they say. I really open-minded approach this, thinking, well, my wife wants to watch it, and she's getting back into school mode. She's a teacher, so she's starting to grade. Just want to have something on. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And a lot of times, I'll admit too that I will fall for. I think we all will fall for the PR game that some of these movies play. Like when Superman was getting ready to come out, I think they deliberately said, you know what, let's compare it to Ice for absolutely no reason, just to get people talking about it, because that happens, and then everybody's talking about Superman, and then you go watch it and you're like, this isn't a woke movie. It was fine. But Snow White really was as bad as everybody says, I thought, and not just because it was the woke stuff, but because the movie was just awful.
What was the woke stuff you saw primarily?
Well, here's the key test for me is when my wife wanted to watch the movie, I did not. And she turns it on and she's like, why did they make the dwarves into non-people? Like they spent all this money making them look as fake as possible when you could have had actual dwarves, little people playing real roles. And she was coming at this with no conservative talking points. She came to that conclusion watching it by herself. And I'm like, yeah,
now,
you just hit. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought they were bringing in the Freeburg Mighty Midgets for that role. They didn't?
They did not. And Brad Range from the Annie Fry Show is one of them. And I asked him if he recognized anybody.
But don't you remember what they did initially? They got a lot of pushback, and rightfully so, where they actually did have one. See, I never know. Can you say dwarf? Can you say midget? I don't know. Whatever you want to call them. They had had regular-sized people, and it looked so dumb. What's the point of that?
I mean, the whole thing was just a complete swing and miss. They've trapped themselves in their own ideology such that they had no way out to even make that movie. You have to just say, look, we're not going to play by modern rules. We're going to make Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But they won't do it. They have to capitulate. They have to pander to everybody they've ever spoke to in the past, about these new rules that we all have to follow. And it's just a complete miss, and everybody knows it. Nobody watched the movie and liked it.
I would not watch it just out of principle because of woke Hollywood having to decide that you're going to take a movie made out of a person whose skin is white as snow, hence the name Snow White, and put somebody who's not in the lead role just because you can.
Yeah, and just because they feel like they're supposed to, like it's a morality question for
She's
them.
probably a fine actress, but I just don't understand that.
But I think what bothered people too is what Rachel Zegler was saying prior to the movie actually coming out. She ruined it for a lot of people, and that was why they had to delay it. In fact, wasn't it supposed to go to theaters? And they decided to pull it back and wait, and then that was why they ended up releasing it on one of the streaming services. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up, but
that's exactly what happened.
I was going to say she ruined it for a lot of people.
So what is missed in this is that it actually did come out in theaters, but it was such a short run that it immediately left theaters.
Hey,
it was so bad.
Was that a midget joke?
No.
Short run.
Shame on you, Ryan Wiggins.
But it did go to theaters. It just didn't make any money. It was immediately out of theaters.
Hey, Ryan, Dan Buck here. I want to know what the wife is going to do to pay you back for that great husband moment.
What does she have to watch?
Holy cow, she'd be paying me back for like 4 months.
You know what? I'll tell you the answer to that question. She's going to watch Star Trek Strange New World Season 3.
Whoa. That's a lot longer than a Snow White movie.
Yeah, but it felt longer.
It's all about perspective,
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think what if my wife wouldn't have any interest in watching that movie. I'd be pretty safe.
Yeah, but your daughter might.
Yeah, Ginger might.
Yeah, my wife, my granddaughters might, but I ain't going. my
Well,
wife
guys,
doesn't control what I do, Ryan. Sorry.
I haven't told you the end of the story yet. I haven't
okay,
told you the end of
please,
the story. I was
please.
saving it for the end of the segment because
Okay.
this is a whole story arc that we're going through here. So at the end, by about the middle of the movie, I was like, wow, I was trying to keep my mouth shut because she was just grading, she was just having it on. And she looks at me and goes, this is terrible. And she turned it off. I didn't even have to. So we didn't even finish the movie.
That's
nice.
fantastic.
That is fantastic.
Hmm.
So it wasn't as painful that you didn't have to stay the whole 2 hours.
That's exactly right. And she did mention what Mark said, that Rachel Ziegler is a good actress, but she said she's a good stage actress. She is not great in movies. And she's got a fantastic voice, but she gets in her own way with all that PR junk that she did before this movie, and it really ruined it.
They ruined a lot of stuff where they're doing these remakes. In fact, I remember going to the Muni. This was a few years back, and I think it was Legally Blonde or something. I don't remember, but they switched up the ending. I know you guys are probably not big Legally Blonde fans unless your wives made you watch it. But they had her proposing to him or something at the end. And it was one of those things where it felt like, oh, there's a cultural shift. And so we have to be progressive in the way that we end this. And it just ruins it.
Yeah.
No, you're right about not being a Legally Blonde fan enough to know that fact.
I'll fill you in just in case. I know you're really itching to
Thanks.
see it. So
Yeah.
sorry to ruin it.
That's all right. Well, we appreciate the warning there because I would probably never have started down that path to what I'm with Dan. I would have found. I'm sorry, honey. You watch this. I'm going to go to bed.
I'm going to go play pickleball. Yeah.
Mark, it's a love story though.
Well,
you like love stories.
It is a love story. You can make that. You can make that argument.
Just so you know, Dan, Mark takes, and you too, Ryan, he takes any gory movie where they're cutting each other's heads off and stabbing each other and guts are everywhere, and he's like, it's a love story. That's why you should watch it, Kim.
Isn't Tombstone, Dan, isn't Tombstone a love story?
Oh, no.
Don't lie.
No.
Come on,
Thank
Wyatt
you.
Earp walks off at the end of the movie, and it's a story about his romance with this
I know
dance
the
girl.
movie, but I would never categorize it as a
Come
romance.
Truth right there.
Yeah.
You
Sorry,
two are
man. Couldn't take your side on
conspiring
that one.
against me over there. Hey, did you see Happy Gilmore 2?
I did.
What'd you think?
I thought it was good.
How about you, Wiggins? Have you seen it?
I loved it. It was very nostalgic. The jokes were pretty good, actually. I liked it.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as like Caddyshack 2. That totally jumped the
Yeah.
shark, and you can't redo Caddyshack, but I thought it was a good remake. A good follow-up.
It was corny, but so was the original,
Yeah.
and I loved the cameos that he had in it and the old references.
My fingers
I'll just
hurt.
have to say.
Now you've pulled landscaping duty. There's so many good quotes from that movie.
Uncle John Daly. I just love the fact that he had all of those golfers and everything in it, and I had to watch it because I was on a weekend trip out of town with my mother, who'd never seen the original. And she's 90 years old. She kept looking at me and she goes, please tell me you're not enjoying this. And I'm like, somewhere, Mom, I'm still that 15-year-old boy, and I
But you
love
would
it.
be lost if you didn't know the first one. If you didn't watch the first one.
I know. It's true.
So many of the jokes pertain back to the first one. So, yeah.
Very true. All
I
right.
liked it.
Ryan Wiggins, thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Yeah, see you soon.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Ryan Wiggins on the phone this morning. Of course, I guess it's back to school for a lot of kids right now. I think his wife went back to work today, but the kids aren't back in school yet till maybe later this week. So
a lot of parents breathing a sigh of relief right now. Maybe it's been a long summer. I know a lot of parents are really sad, but I think a lot of parents are like, all right.
Well, I know
good.
commuters are sad, too, because the traffic's going to pick up, too.
That's true.
Yep,
I forgot about that.
it's coming back this week for
Yes,
sure.
it
All
is.
right, we're going to be back in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
About it. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got an accident eastbound 6440 near Mason, and they've got the right shoulder and the right lane blocked. Traffic is jammed back to Clarkson. We also have an accident eastbound 44 at Bowles. That in the right lane, still causing a delay in that area. Northbound 270 is stacked up. Now, it's mainly moderate volume, but it is from Gravois up through the Dew Road. We've got eastbound 40 slowing at the Inner Belt, westbound slowing Clayton-Skinker out through Hanley. Little bit of moderate volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge as well. Now, that could be a lot worse. 55, just some moderate volume in the Bayless area. And then it looks better. In fact, it looks much better from there into downtown. This report is brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service than at Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Most of us, I'm just talking about the average person here, does not know how the tax code works and the intricacies of it so that we can make that work to our advantage in retirement. This is why I think it makes so much sense to have a financial retirement plan written out. And who I recommend for that is Financial and Tax Architects. They're just the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And their idea is we're going to teach you a little bit about how this works. Then we're going to sit down with you and customize a plan specifically to your goals, to your values, to the amount of money you have. And they will help you kind of take your hand there, come up with a plan to take you through retirement. But education first. So call them today, 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101, and register for a class. Go from there, and you will feel better.
The Cards, the Rockies.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Refresh, restore, and protect your employees and customers. Call Zero Res today to clean your business the right way so your floors and surfaces stay cleaner, longer, without the harmful chemicals the other guys use. Call 314-474-2020.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at NewNordicUSA.com.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
It's never too early to learn that the government is a greedy piglet that suckles on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples.
Yeah, just a quick reminder there from Mr. Swanson about what's going on in the Francis House School District. We talked about that earlier. That is one of my favorite drops of all time, Dan Buck. Can I just tell you that?
And I am still shocked that Francis Howe gets away with what they're getting away with out there with all their liberal board members. I'm like, where are the Republican voters out there in western St. Charles County that allow – I mean, the woke crap that's going on and some of the families that I've spoken to going to that and things they're teaching, it's like, wow. I mean,
why didn't they show? Why did the conservatives not show up to these smaller elections?
I don't get it. I don't know. And the NEA must have a death grip on the teachers out there and the different things to be able to force them to promote some of this, you know, DEI and woke and all of the, you know, transgender agenda type things that they're allowing and supporting out there.
Well, we've talked a lot about the fact that Nick Schroer, our friend Senator Schroer, tried to get these elections. He had a bill to move these elections to either August or November, where you'd get greater turnout just by the nature of the fact that more people vote in those elections. And the NEA owns the election when it's in a April timeframe, because the only people that show up are the ones that are paid to show up, and I mean that by they are the paid teachers who support the teachers union, who go out and show up at their workplaces in many cases to vote, which is where a lot of these polling places are. And it's just a built-in advantage that they're only going to fix that by moving it to a different time of the year, I'm afraid. I will point out here, because in all fairness, this Dominguez guy was hired by the previous board. So the selection committee brought this stuff to them. They had 3 candidates. They picked this one, and then the election happened, and the board changed, and the new board came in, and then the information surfaced about some questionable stuff in the guy's background, which is when they delayed his start date. But once he got past the 1st of July, his contract had officially started. So when they chose to separate with him, they apparently owed him the money.
A full year.
Yeah,
It was
couple
like
hundred
just
grand.
shy. Yeah, it was like-
$229,000.
I think his
It's like
contract
11
was,
months or something.
His contract was, I think, for $250, so he got just shy of a year's long contract.
Well, like you said, Dan, it's
Sorry.
good work if you can get it.
I want that guy's attorney negotiating my next contract. So if they part ways with you get a full year's pay. Not a bad gig.
I know. If you're just joining us, the other voice in the room there is our friend Dan Buck, who has been kind enough to agree, of course, for a small king's ransom to come in and fill in for Kim when she's on maternity leave.
I'm looking forward to it. Can't
Yeah.
wait. And obviously, no rush to the baby. Come when you want to come, But we're talking, maybe the 28th is a due date.
28th is the due date.
But
I think
Mama
I'll-
always knows.
Yeah, I think I'll go early. I went early with my first. I went into labor naturally early, so I have a feeling that I'll go a little bit earlier.
Okay.
What did your doula say about that?
Do you know what? Did you know that even existed before I started?
I
talking
did.
about
I did. I
doulas?
remember.
What is that, like
I
a midwife? What
I
is it?
covered
There's
this.
a separate. There's a midwife and a doula.
I covered this story years ago as a reporter at Channel 4 because there was a big debate. There was some regulation that they had to change at the state level to allow them to be more active in these pregnancies, and there was a difference between like a doula and a midwife and other stuff. So I did know the word.
Doulas
Yes.
don't deliver babies, but the doulas are there to basically help you with anything you need. Like it could be.
Are we at home during this?
So
Are we?
You can do, but you can have
can do either?
you can have a doula or midwife at home. Or you could have them in the hospital. But they're great because they'll help with I had an unmedicated birth with Easton and didn't have a doula, but I had my sisters and my mom and my husband, and they were helping, but I had back labor. So it was like constant pressure. And so she gets to do that now, and she's got all these techniques. And if baby shifts, they're amazing at different, hey, try moving this way, and that will help baby. And it's pretty fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
I've heard worth every penny.
I'm going to bring a video camera over and capture it
Well,
all.
they've encouraged me just to have the baby here.
Here in the studio?
So, yeah.
Let's go live.
Yeah, that's exactly what they
Just
said.
bring the
Huge
tub
ratings.
in and do it.
Yeah,
We'll do
that's
it right over here on the
right. Yeah.
floor.
Just mute the cameras or mute the volume, I should say, the microphones.
Might be a little language involved.
Ooh,
I don't think I said a single
Did
curse
you?
word.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think- I'm not.
Gosh.
No, I didn't really scream.
So my wife grabs the doctor by the collar about halfway through, but with both hands, grabs him because she kept going, "You're almost there. You're almost there," and it was annoying me when she kept saying, "You're almost there."
Yeah.
Finally, my wife shoots out of the bed, grabs her by the collars, and goes, "Take the damn baby."
Yeah, that's about where you're at when you're late in the
I'm sure you get
in
there at some
transition.
point. Dan, we're looking forward to it, my friend. Thank you.
I cannot wait.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Brian Kilmeade coming up next here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for that. Of course, we'll get to the Annie Fry Show and Mark Reardon to finish out your day. Keep it tuned right here on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.